Good morning and welcome to Koko Digest Morning Show. I am your host for today, Yayura Awuno. We are coming to you live from the studios of Clock TV, and you can also catch us on GoTV channel 184. And if you're not in the comfort of your home, you can join us on social media, particularly on Facebook and on YouTube. Just search for Clock TV GH, like, share, and subscribe to our pages, and then join in the Koko Digest Morning Show live stream. Now, here's what to expect for today as we are on the Koko Digest Morning Show. We'll be talking about the flooding issues. We'll be talking about some of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the pronouncements that have been made by the president, some of the initiatives that are also going to be undertaken. And then also we're going to be discussing stroke on the lifestyle segment. And then sports and business will be bringing us news as always. So now let's prepare to be motivated for today. Right. As we like to do here, we motivate ourselves and our viewers. And today's quote is by Alan Cohen. And he says, "Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect." And this is by Alan Cohen. And this quote teaches that waiting for everything to be ideal can prevent us from ever taking action. Many people delay their dreams because they are waiting for the right time, more resources, more confidence, or fewer challenges. But often, progress comes after we start, not before. Taking the first step creates experience, opens opportunities, and helps us discover what we need along the way. And sometimes the courage to begin is what creates the environment for success. This is the quote for today, and I'm hoping that it motivates you as it motivates us, especially with regards to the situation at hand. Yes, we shouldn't wait for the right time. We should start so that as we start, then the right time is automatically, there for us. So this is a quote for today. I hope that you share it with your friends, meditate upon and take that step now. Let's take steps to also become better people. Let's reset our mindsets when it comes to our environments and the needed things we need to do as well. Now, up next is the weather report by Peter Insia, so do stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, we're about to take our weather report as we are in uncertain times. And Peter Nsia is here to give us the 411. Peter, over to you.
Very much. Morning to you. And thank you for always choosing the best, the Koko Digest Morning Show. And as usual, it's time for the weather report for today. It should be on your screen by now. I'm going to begin with the morning. So this morning, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is saying that the people of Aflao, Anlogan, Accra, Kaswa, Winneba, Cape Coast, Takrady, and Axim, there is 40% chance of slight rain. It is going to rain slightly, 40% to 30% chance. So the people within Aflao, Anlogan, Accra, Kaswa, Winneba, Cape Coast, Takrady, and Axim should take note. So if you are within any of these areas, GMET says there's going to be slight rain this morning. And for the people of Ho, Koforidua, Achimoda, Kwautafo, Kumasi, Obuasi Takwa, and Sefi Bekwai, this morning it is very misty. And so whenever it's misty, GMET advises that drivers or early commuters make good use of their headlight and avoid over speeding as well. The people of Ketikrache, GMET says there's 30% chance of rain this morning. And for the people of Atebubu and Ejura, there is 60% chance of mist. It is going to be very misty. And then for the people of Kintampo, it is going to be mostly cloudy this morning. The people of Goso, Sunyani, Techiman, Sampa, it is going to be very misty as well. For the northern parts of the country, Yendi, Tamale, Bole, Damango, it is going to be mostly cloudy. But for the people of Boligatanga, it is going to be partly cloudy. Nelerigu, Wa, and Jirapa, it is going to be mostly cloudy and partly cloudy as well, with the temperature ranging from 24 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. And as the day progresses into the afternoon, the people of Aflao and Logan, Accra, Winneba, Cape Coast, Takrady, Axim, Ho, it is, GMET says there's 40% chance of rain as well. So as you're experiencing slight rain in the morning, GMET also says that there's 40% chance of rain as well in the afternoon. And the people of Ho, Koforidua, Akimoda, Kwewutafo, GMET says there's 40% chance of rain as well with thunderstorm and rain as well. So the people within these areas should take note. The people of Kumasi, this afternoon, it is going to be mostly cloudy. The people of Obuasi, Takwa, Sefibekwai, Ketikrachi, GMET says there's 30 to 40% chance of rain accompanied by thunderstorm as well this afternoon. So please take note and act accordingly. The people of Atebubu, Edra, Kintampo, Goso, Sunyani, through to Techima and Sampa, GMET says this afternoon is going to be mostly cloudy. And the people of Tamale and Bole, there's 30% chance of rain as well this afternoon. The remaining part of the northern region remains sunny. GMET says you're going to experience sunny intervals, with the exception of Nelerigu, that there's 30% chance of rain, with a temperature as well ranging from 30 degrees Celsius to 34 degrees Celsius. And then in the evening, the people of Aflao and the people of Aflao, it's going to be mostly cloudy. The people of Anloga and Accra should expect slight rain. That is 30% chance of slight rain. The remaining parts of the country, the middle belt, is going to be cloudy. It is going to be mostly cloudy. And the people of Obuasi Takwa, Sefibekwai, Ketikrachi, through to Damango, Bole, Yendi, Techiman, and Sunyani, GMET says there's 40% chance of rain this evening. And the people of Wa as well, 40% chance of rain this evening. The people of Jirapa and Nerewegu, it is going to be partly cloudy with a temperature ranging from 24 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. So please take note and act accordingly. As Yaria rightly stated, we are in the raining season and it's still raining. Please take note and carry some umbrellas with you. Keep your properties in place and ensure that before you leave home, you have your things rightly arranged. And be of help to one another as well. Yara, that's all for today.
All right. Thank you so much. So that was the weather report. As I said, also, we are in uncertain times, and these days the rains are quite unforgiving, and we need to do our best to also take care of ourselves. And so let's be strapped. Let's also be careful. Let's also make sure to extend a helping hand, as Peter said, to one another. Now, my colleagues are here with me, so let's get into finding out how they're doing. Good morning.
Good morning, Yara.
I hope we are well.
Up and grateful, divine selection. Another opportunity to write my own.
Glad to hear. So today happens to be the second anniversary of the Koko This Morning Show, 2nd July. And so I think I'd like to ask how it's been, how the journey has been, how you're feeling.
Right. I think you'd have to go first. Because we've not
I don't know how to describe the feeling, but I think we've come so far. And honestly, there's more room for
Yes, that's the biggest room in the world, room for improvement. So Peter, how has the journey been?
I mean, yeah, so far so good. I joined, not long ago, and I've seen that. I mean, it's not easy, but then our cherished viewers have always, been with us, supporting and contributing and whatever, management, of course, and the individuals here. I mean, you guys are doing so well, those behind the scenes and everyone. And so, like you said, there's more room for improvement, and we are hoping that, a year by this time, the story will be different. And we are also calling on our viewers to actually rally behind that, support us. And we are up, and we are grateful. And then we are promising them that we'll give them the best. Nothing but the best. And so we
Peter, is he going somewhere after the morning show?
Not really. You see, yesterday something transpired. The president made mention of a whole lot and was quoting some biblical. So I deem it fit to actually represent today.
So it means you pray for us here too?
Something like that. I mean, just to...
Well, since you didn't ask me, I'm going to say it. So, we are in the times where everybody is not really happy. People are not really feeling okay with the current happenings in the country. So I decided to step out bold today just to give me that kind of, feel. So as you can see, today I decided to wear red lipstick.
In
Yes.
I must also say that you guys are looking... I don't know the word to use, but you guys are looking so beautiful. And
thank you,
I'm
Peter.
happy sitting in your midst as well.
Thank you. So, well, as beautiful as we are looking, we also need to make sure we add to our vocabulary. And today's word for today is trajectory. The word for today is trajectory. Now, trajectory means the direction or path that something follows. So the path, the course, or direction that something follows over time, whether it's a physical object, a person's life, career, or a process. So that's the word trajectory. And the words that are similar in meaning to the word trajectory, we have path, we have course, we have direction, we have route, we have course of action, we have progression, flight path, that is for physical objects, we have trend, we have movement. And then the words that are opposite in meaning to the word trajectory, we have stagnation, standstill, halt, dead end, regression, decline. And decline is in context where the trajectory implies a positive progress. So the thought for today is a new beginning is a chance to change your trajectory. So I'm throwing this word to you, my colleagues. Trajectory.
Dara, as you explained it,
today is anniversary. You need to rap for us.
Today I didn't want to go through that, tangent. Today I'm a different person altogether.
Prophesy.
That will come at the latter part of the show. But I mean, the word, it's self-explanatory, and this is a word that we've heard over and over again. Mostly leaders use it a lot when they want to tell us the path, the way, the direction they want to go. And they want to confuse some of us. They use the word trajectory. And then, like you rightly stated, the path or direction we want to move. And so if I'm to give more explanation, I would like to talk about what we are facing currently, the flood issue. Even transport issue is something we are still facing, but because of the flood, we are not even talking about transport issue. And so this is what we are expecting our leaders to tell us the trajectory. You understand? that is the
course of action.
To solve the issue at hand.
All right.
Peter has said it all.
It can't be easy. I can't remove all the meanings to the word.
Yeah, I said everything.
Thoughts about it.
Let's go forward. Yeah.
Yes, please. You. Right. So moving on into the online and print review, we'll be speaking with Mrs. Florence Sumala Ankuchi. She is the public health director at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. We'll be talking about the flood that occurred on Monday, and finding out from the perspective of public health officers, what the trajectory for the course of action is going to be. And we're also going to be talking about the public health nurses that are going to be deployed to flood victims with regards to the possibility of disease outbreaks like cholera, waterborne diseases, and even the chance of malaria as well, and also other infections that people may pick up as they, had interactions with the flood waters. These flood waters are very, very contaminated. So let's take note of that. And then also, we're going to be talking about our president talking about faith must pair with hard work for Ghana's growth. So as much as we pray so much, we also need to be up and doing, like Peter says. So these are some of the things we'll be discussing today. So I'm throwing it back to you. What are some of the trends you've also picked up before we get into some of these stories?
Okay, so a few weeks ago, we saw the incident that happened at Bole Senior High School. And I think up to now, the teacher who was involved in the intimacy with the students, has run away. The police are currently looking for him. But I think his salary has been held. His salary has been held. That's what I picked up yesterday and through to this morning. That's what I picked. And I think is the right step in the direction, because tell me why, meaning he knows what he did was wrong.
Yeah.
He's aware. So since he decided to, run, then it means we have to be vigilant as citizens also, and also help the police in this situation. So he will be brought to book as in now, yeah.
I like the fact that you also drew our attention to the fact that he knows what he's doing is wrong, because you realize that in our societies, when these older people make passes at younger kids, they try to wait until someone calls them out for what they are doing. They are usually serious, but when someone prompts them that, hey, that is wrong, then they try to play it off as jokes. And a lot of people tend to just but just sort of turn away from it, though they don't really take it serious, even though if we know that person is serious. As we say, and these are some of the things. And like you're saying, he knows what he did was wrong, and that's why he's run away.
And it's sad why he thinks he can get away with it, because
a lot of people do.
It's this issue actually trended, like it shook the whole nation, because people have entrusted their kids to these institutions for you to take care of them. Take care of them doesn't mean you should go and be having intimacy with the kids. So I'm just happy about the whole situation, that his salary has been held, because you cannot expect your salary and then look at what you've done. No, that's not possible.
My concern has to do with, when the issue came up, we were told that he has been apprehended. So
how is it that now he's run away?
So why did it even take so long? When you go to court, they will tell you they deal with evidence of that.
Exactly.
And we had the evidence right in hand. So why did it take so long before this action been taken? And then my issue is that the information you released right now, it means that he was expected to be at work, to carry out his daily duties. And because of what he did, he, like you rightly stated, that he think that what he did was wrong. He decided to actually stay away from office. My question has to do with this video out and everybody talking about it, that it is wrong, where authorities expecting that he goes back to work and continue teaching. That is my question. he should have been arrested before now. And
Exactly.
we hearing that they are now going after him, and now his pay has been frozen and all that. I mean, it should have been done long time ago. What were the authorities waiting for?
Peter has a point.
They were waiting for another evidence. Or what were they waiting
considering how these institutions work, the bureaucracy where they have to follow certain due processes, they would also argue that they had to do certain investigations and put
The investigations were right and done.
Even though that is there, the evidence is obvious and all of that, there is still process to be followed. And that's a disadvantage of it. Sometimes it becomes too long, too tedious, and by the time all of that is done, maybe the necessary paperwork and all of that has been completed. Like you said, he's absconded.
So it means we have to check our systems, because this is a crime and is very punishable. Then probably have to check their system and how it works, because the evidence were there, and from the look of things, doesn't look like that was his first time.
So with regards to that too, there's also the possibility that in another situation where, let's say in his situation, the students knew that this is what he was doing, right? Now, in a situation where people don't particularly know this teacher for such behavior, and then the video has been recorded. Now, identifying him becomes a bit of an issue, because maybe from where the video was taken, you can't particularly see who exactly it is. That is where the whole investigation and following due process will come in there, you see. So it's like these things are there to make sure that they are doing what they have to do in an accurate and timely manner, just that sometimes it tends to run longer. This is not to defend them or anything, but this is why some of these things are also in place, because you may see a guy, he's looking fine from afar, he looks like Peter, but maybe when you get close, you realize that no, it's not the same features.
So why did they tell us he was a science teacher? Peter, you saw the news when he came earlier.
That's why I said that. That's why I said that he was known for that. So it was very easy to identify him that he's the teacher that does that. That is the person, Mr. So and so. But in a case where it's one of those teachers who pretends and hides his misbehavior, he's being secretive with the student. Like I think with the other story where the young girl was called out by her colleagues or her fellow classmates from a teacher's room or something. In that situation, if the teacher wasn't videoed or put on camera, if we're going to identify the teacher, it's going to be by word of mouth, and even maybe interviewing the young girl to find out, interrogating her to find out who is this person whose room you were being camped in. And if it comes out that maybe she lied, if her colleagues lied, all of that. So these are the things that the investigations will have to also make sure to filter out, and then they'll take the next step. Right. But my problem with all of this is that it's an isolated case. And for all of us, with what we know, what we've experienced, what we've seen growing up and all of that, we have such a long way to go when it comes to these issues, because it is more rampant than we like to admit. And we need, I don't know what exactly we can do about it, but the law needs to be laid down much better. Exactly. We need to make these people very uncomfortable with trying to take advantage of young students, whether it's the female teacher or the young boy. Because I think there was a time like that where there was another video, it was a woman and a boy. And instead of people condemning that, they were hailing the boy. These are also attitudes that we have in society that perpetuates these things. Even though this teacher, there are factions of society that were talking about his member, how well endowed he is, rather than the fact that this man is indulging in such activities with a minor. All of these things are there, and we've caught only one person. Imagine the number of people that have done this over the years. People who were younger back in the day, today they are realizing that they were groomed by teachers. They were taken advantage of. All those people have their stories, and they have to be quiet about it because they don't want to be shamed. And it is ongoing. It is still ongoing. Apparently, it's a norm, actually, in some cases. I think even with the domestic violence story we discussed, I think last week, the young girl who had left her home at the age of 15 and had been with this man for 3 good years. This is also a case like that. It's very similar,
I think it's high time we start, creating awareness and start talking. Like, people need to come out and speak. They don't have to be silenced, because silence means you are just like I said earlier last week, we are just protecting the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it's not going to help any of us.
You see, this is a whole societal issue, and one side cannot solve everything. But like you rightly explained, my problem has to do with the timing. Like you said, it was an isolated, case, and since we know that people are actually into it, it is happening. But just that we are just seeing a few. This should serve as a deterrent to the others who are doing it, for them to know that once you do it and your cup gets full and it comes out, you are going to be dealt with. And that is why I wanted this particular man to be dealt with like as soon as possible, without wasting much time.
Yeah.
For most people, were thinking that he was actually facing the full rigors of the law, not knowing that they were now even running after him. That means that we are not treating the case as serious as it is. It should be. And so, like I rightly stated, this is a whole societal issue. Even right after this video, there are so many videos circulating. This time around, it's not with teachers and even students, with students themselves. So if we are to go into this very issue, we'll bring a whole lot of people into it. And so society, parents, leaders, teachers, everyone involved should get involved. Let's educate our kids. Let's tell them the right thing. And I think that there should be a thorough discussion, stakeholder discussion about technology and the use of social media.
And punitive measures.
It's becoming too much in our society. It looks as though we are not using technology and social media to do the right thing. It's rather bringing more harm than good to us. But when you go to the other parts of the country, they're actually benefiting from it. But here, we are not using it for the right thing. And I think I'm scared for the next generation. Even from our generation to the unborn generation, I'm scared because of what is actually happening. And so our leaders should be up and doing.
All right. And then to the members of our society who tend to say that the children know what they are doing, let's remember that these are children. Anybody below the age of 18 is not legally an adult. And even some people argue that the age 18 is still not an adult. And we know that, yes, children are being exposed to a lot of things and a lot of sexual activities. They themselves are indulging in such with their own mates and all of that. But it does not take away the fact that these are children who do not truly understand the repercussions of some of their actions. And that is why we don't actually even encourage them to take certain decisions. These are people who sometimes they need guidance to choose whatever course they will study in school. Why do we want to make it look as though they know what they are doing when it comes to such activities, especially with the gravity of such things? So let's also be guided. Let's make sure to tell the truth. Let's be honest with ourselves and have honest conversations about the fact that these are still children regardless. Now, moving on, so we don't end up debating, because this issue there. Peter, what have you also picked up?
It's a concern that we've been talking about.
Okay.
Today I'm surprised Beverly did not even mention it.
Transport.
Yes.
Transport is on your heart. It's on his heart. Yes.
It is becoming serious. We know it started during the festive season, like latter part of 2025, when we are approaching the festive season. And we all know that when it gets to that time, transport becomes something, very, very difficult. People do not get commercial vehicles. But we are through the year. We are in July currently. But it looks as though the situation is getting worse every blessed day.
Yeah.
My question this morning is that why is it so difficult to get commercial vehicles from the central business district? Last year, during the latter part of last year, we had the numbers, but you cannot compare it to the current numbers as we speak. You should go to the central business district and see right from 6 p.m., let's say 5 p.m. through to 8, 9. It is very serious. You might think that people are having rally there. When you get there, it is too serious. There are no vehicles. And the little ones that we have, they are charging exorbitant prices. Our leaders are there. The transport ministry, AMA is there. The Accra Mayor, everyone is there. Nobody seems to be talking about it. And the ordinary Ghanaian is there suffering. Now, adding this flood situation to it has become become serious. And I'm looking at our economy. Our economy is growing. It's now about 5 to 6%. Now, inflation is, let's say, 5.3%. fuel prices are currently down. So what is the situation? Why are drivers still charging exorbitant prices when the economy has eased a little bit? We have GPRTU. They are not saying anything. When the issue became the talk of town, we heard them that they have put in measures in place. They have task force. They have cards to identify buses that belong to GPRTU. Is it that we don't have enough vehicles? Because the area, it's serious. Every day when I pick car from Koko cluster of schools.
That is by this time you buy car.
I mean, it's serious.
Amen.
What about the ordinary Ghanaian who cannot afford? Now, it is not these exorbitant prices is not limited to the business people and the working class. Even students who pay cars from there, they are still paying the same amount. When are we going to solve this issue? We were actually thinking that the bus that they said were going to be used for intra-city. Now they said intercity. So can't some of these buses, help ease the pressure on the ordinary Ghanaian at some of these places? I'm even talking about the central business district alone. What about the other places? I mean, people are suffering, and we need our leaders to come in. The buses that we have, deploy them. If they can't work throughout the day, when it is evening time, deploy them to those places. People are charged. People are paying exorbitant prices. They are not even getting the cars. They have to fight. You should see it. And I think from today, I'll pick videos so that we can see. Because sometimes I talk about it and it's not as serious as I'm saying it. And so I'll pick videos and everybody will see. And people who pick cars from there can attest to that fact. You see long queues and it's actually not helping at all. So we are begging the transport ministry, AMA. The Accra mayor was there some time ago when this issue became the top of town, was trying to, ensure that drivers take the fair price, but it was just a 9-day wonder. We didn't see him there again, and I think that there should be something that could be done to solve this issue.
It's sad, though, and it's even worse now that the floods or the rains have started. And I guess that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning because just yesterday the filth that was seen in some of the places. Oh God, Peter, it's bad. And the plastics alone itself.
Another part of this issue is the structural and systemic problems. So sometimes you hear these transport people or drivers and mates talking about the fact that they will be caught by police and they have to allocate some money to pay them, and just in order to continue on the road. And then they also talk about the shadow boys. So these are two different problems. So the first one is the fact that your car or your vehicle is lacking in certain areas. Maybe your fire extinguisher, your driver's license is expired, your roadworthy is expired. Instead of going to do the necessary thing, you've made up your mind that you would rather just keep paying off the policeman that is there to do his job. And then with that, it is affecting your daily sales, because if you're to go how many rounds, and maybe assuming you're making 1,000 CDs every day per round, and per round you're giving 10% of that to the policeman. Now it is obviously going to affect your daily sales and what you're going to use the monies for, and then you're now transferring that to the ordinary Ghanaian. Then the other issue of the shadow boys, these young men out there who have no jobs, have nothing to do, have decided that they would rather help you to get your car full, and then you give them something. And when you don't give them, they will literally fight you if you don't give them the money, And so with that too, they are also another part of the problem. So it's almost like, just like when you get your money, you need to make sure you budget for police, you budget for shadow boys. And they make that the justification for some of these things they do, which now comes to talk about unemployment, and then the fact that even our police, because they have also seen that these people will not do the right thing, they might as well just make money off of them. And then they themselves to know that, okay, well, if I give the policeman something, he will let me go. This is another systemic problem that we are facing. And it's part of why we are suffering now. Some of them also talk about the fact that there is traffic. So they won't use certain routes, and then we also end up suffering. So in this case, where do we go?
You see, that is where I talk about the indiscipline. This is as a result of indiscipline.
Yeah.
We have all the laws. I mean, see, this is Ghana.
Yeah.
And I know that most people will say that they are private businesses, but then you cannot operate in isolation. We have rules, we have regulations. I mean, so you see, I've been saying this. We have all the laws, the regulations, and we've entrusted people to do that. Most people will argue that now, if we become so strict on the private businesses and they say, okay, now they are withdrawing from the service, government do not have what it takes to actually, take care of the ordinary Ghanaian. But that doesn't mean that we should allow them to do anything of that sort. You get it? Like you said, before you operate as a private, business, your car, you need to get fire extinguisher. You need to ensure that your car is kept clean. But you see, what even pained me is that, they are charging the exorbitant prices. Their cars are not even in good shapes.
Oh my goodness.
And we have all these institutions who are responsible to do that. The other time we were talking about the fact that these people go for roadworthy, stickers and what have you. Do they go there like without their
they
cars?
Even inspect the cars.
What is actually happening? And so that's where I think that the indiscipline is setting in. And it is not limited to the transport system alone. The hostels. People want to make profit at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian. Want to make unthinkable profit. We can take the hostel facilities into consideration. Yesterday they had a meeting here at the CLOSAC national headquarters. The Works and Housing together with the rent control department. They met with the hostel managers to find ways and means to ensure that they check their prices and what have you. And people were complaining that their private businesses, they borrow money, they go for loans. It doesn't mean that you have to charge exorbitant
They
prices.
don't see.
You see,
If you're telling us you borrow the money that they borrowed, is it for maintenance or is it for what? Because some of these hostels they don't even maintain them.
It's
so
serious.
The borrowing the money, is it for building the hostels or I'm not really getting it.
I think another fundamental problem with this issue too is that we have this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can turn into a bad thing where it's more like the private institution has monopolized the system. So there isn't enough competition.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, the government may have, some facilities and all of that, this is with regards to transport and even the housing issue. The private institution or the private sector has more shares in, for lack of a better explanation, more shares in this sector than the government. So it's more difficult to regulate them. But it is not impossible because if they are registered, they are being monitored, they are also put in check, these things should not happen because we know that these things are investments. Even the transport thing, you come and buy your trotro when you are driving. Yes, it is an investment and all of that. But there needs to be some sort of laid down law that if you're going to use our roads, then you will adhere to the law. You make your profit, but you would also make sure you are abiding by the rules and regulations here. So you don't charge such exorbitant prices. But it seems as though our systems are not as evolved as we need for these things to be easily tracked. Because under normal circumstances, let's use the West. There is no way the bus system or the train system will charge more than what has been stipulated without it being flagged somewhere, And if there's a glitch, I'm sure that there will be some sort of refund or something to correct it. So even when we use the other transportation system that came, the smart transit and all of that, you see that they have a system and all of that, and they make that. Even with the Metro Mass Transit, they have tickets they've printed. So there is no way the conductor is going to say the ticket price is different. We are collecting another 2 CDs in addition, because the people themselves will revolt because they know that no, this is not what the government has stipulated. But when it comes to the private vehicles, what can you say? You either pay or get out. And then people are also desperate to go home because, as you're saying, it is very, very tiring to close from work and go and stand at the bus stop for more than an hour to get a vehicle home. To sit in, not after getting the car after that hour, you're sitting in traffic, tired and exhausted.
And the state of the car is not even good. You get it.
Your back,
to add up to it,
scoliosis and things will be doing this once.
it's sad. It's very, very sad.
Something that I'm still thinking about. That you see, these people, mostly these drivers and these housing agents, have the power because most of these properties, cars and housings belong to the authorities. And even if you threaten that you're going to report to them, they don't care.
Yes, but it belongs to them in the private way. It's not. It's not a government thing. It's not a public thing.
But these people are the ones regulating. They are to ensure that they adhere to the rules and regulation. And this person in turn owe the car you are reporting that the person is charging exorbitant prices. It will get there and it wouldn't get anywhere. And that's what these people are bold enough. Yesterday was sad. Already you are charging the exorbitant price of 10 cedis. Imagine from the Central Business District to Kwashiman. The price
That's supposed to be 5 cedis.
Yeah, I think 4 cedis, 50 pesos or so. Now you charge 10 cedis. Yesterday they were charging 15 cedis.
That's like times 3 of.
You understand? It's like the authorities. Nobody is working. We have the rules. We have the regulations on paper. We have the regulators. Nobody is working. The assembly. Nobody is coming around to check what is happening there. I say you should see it for yourself. Today I'll take a video. When you get there from 7, you might think that they are having a rally there. The number of people there, they're all waiting for cars.
But now, in as much as we are also, trying to talk about them charging exorbitant fare, that's not just to justify what they're doing. But a few days ago, we saw the situation of some of our bus stations. The situation, their cars were, submerged in the rainy waters. So as of now, how difficult is it for people to get vehicles? I feel like that's what we are supposed to be talking. What's the current situation of the private GPRTU buses? What's the current state now? How many vehicles are at the stations now?
But even before all of that, before the flood was just this Monday. Look at how much time has passed and we're still going through the same thing. So right now, what you're saying is basically just an addition to the current situation.
Exactly.
And we haven't even solved the first one before the flood issue has come to join, So at this moment, what happens? I think it all boils back down to having, we have the Ministry of Transport and whatnot. Why don't we have a Ministry of Transport set bus system or vehicle system, transport system for us, where we know that every amount of money we are paying is stipulated by the ministry or by our leaders, and it goes to them. It is not somebody's private property. So now when the competition is there on the road, that okay, now we have the option to choose between the private one or the government one. When we lean towards the government one, the private people, knowing that they are losing business, will start to fix up. When they fix up and everything is now, equalized, then they can be in check because they know. So when we know that, okay, if there are 5 churches going to Kwashiman, there are also 5 government buses going to Kwashiman. Everybody knows that now. So because of that, there isn't going to be that desperation for the usual churches anymore, but rather everybody's feeling at ease that, okay, I can choose between the two. And if we all, go towards the government ones, then these people are going to be there until the government ones maybe stop working or something after some time. Then we'll start to rely on you, which is also going to be inconvenient for them. And if not, we'll still be here.
Yeah, that is not going to happen anytime soon.
I mean, yes, there are so many. The churches are many.
And you see, when it comes to, the transport issue right now, the assembly is supposed to take, yes, we have the Ministry of Transport. The assembly is supposed to check and report these things to the, the ministry. And they even taken away the Ministry of Transport. There's another institution that is responsible for regulating intra-city, transport. And so the district assembly, let's say the AMA, will check and report that there has been this number of people and we lack cars and what have you. Ideally, it is the Ayalolo buses. Ayalolo buses were actually meant for intra-city. And I mean, when we deployed them, due to some reasons, it couldn't, stand. And so right now, we are only relying on, the private, GPRTU and other available, cars.
But even before Ayalolo,
Yeah.
we had Kufuor buses. I think those were the first Metro Mass transit buses that we got in the country.
Yeah.
Another problem there too was maintenance, because now you don't see those older buses anymore. Where are they? Parked somewhere, ready to be auctioned at very abysmal prices at this point. So at this point, how would we then even help ourselves with the government vehicles and the buses? Because we don't even maintain them properly. After some time, they're just parked somewhere. But these structure people, they do the bare minimum to keep the car running. Sometimes you see a vehicle and you wonder if this thing will take you to your destination safely, and it will. You just pray a little and it will take you. But our government buses are not like that. By the time you realize, have you seen those buses anymore?
No.
It's been
You
a
hardly
very long
even
time.
see some on the roads.
And I think that we are experiencing what we call the misplaced priorities. Now, the buses that we spoke about, that they say it is now for intercity, Metro Mass has taken over. We see some of these cars engaging in other activities. People uses these buses for excursions and what have you. But we were told that these buses have been dispatched to other regions to help ease congestion over there as well. But we see some of these buses here in Accra, taking people to excursions and what have you, whilst people are somewhere in need of buses. Just deploy these cars available in the evening to ease the congestion, and that is all. And so it will take time. And because of the blame games, and we have too many institutions responsible for just a transport system. Like the other time, we had 8 institutions for flooding, more than 8. When we come to transport, we have so many institutions that are also not working.
I just got the info here on that. And so we have, for urban transport and city mobility, the most relevant institutions are the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Roads and Highways, the National Road Safety Authority, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Motor and Traffic Transport Department, that's the MTTD, then the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executives. So these are some of the institutions. Then we also have, there's rail transport. There are different kinds of transport here. We have, even under the road transport, after Ministry of Transport, DVLA, National Road Safety Authority, MTTD, we also have Ghana Highway Authority. We have Department of Urban Roads, and then we have Department of Feeder Roads. All these departments are here for this. This is all with regards to transport. We even have the maritime transport, okay, but that's not particularly what we are discussing. Then we have urban public transport. We have the Metro Mass Transit Limited, as we're speaking about, and then we have Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive, and they coordinate the bus, rapid transit, and public transport planning in the Greater Accra metropolitan area. So we have institutions, more than enough, but there's almost nothing happening.
And you see, some of these institutions are at the top, and it is said that we have, institutions down there, and that is what they are the head. So we have the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive. That's what people call GAPTI. And they are responsible for, so the Ministry of Local Government oversees the daily on the ground management of city transports, like the routing and terminal operations through local assemblies. Then the Ministry of Transport handles the broader national issue. And so this GAPTI, the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive, they are supposed to be on the ground to determine that, this place, we need this, we need that. Then you report.
Yeah.
You understand? Even before these people even come in, we have the local assembly, the district assemblies. They are supposed to see this. And it looks as though they are not going out of their offices, so they cannot see. And you see, we talk about it on TV, on radio, and it's not as serious as it is until they go out there to see what is happening. And it looks as though when they go and see what is happening, you ask them, I'm not responsible for this. I told this person, and this person said this, and this ministry said, and that is it all. And you see, when we increase prices, the prices of transport fares, when transport fares increases, it is hard for it to be reversed. Over the years, we've seen that once it is being increased, that is all. It will be hard for you to hear that it has been reversed.
Reduced,
And here lies the case. It is illegal. And we have so many people in the central business district. And I think that, government should come in.
They've also realized that they cannot necessarily be tracked, so that's why they are able to do whatever they want. If there were automated systems where money could be taken, payments could be made, these things wouldn't be happening. Because like I was even trying to say, with the Metro Mass Transit, you don't particularly have issues where the conductor is taking more than necessary. Immediately you get a ticket for it.
Right.
But with the church, who even has?
I think it still happens with some even GPR2 buses. When you go to some of the stations, you'll be given a ticket. You pay before you enter some of these buses, and I think it happens some of this long distance.
Some of the stations are well regulated. But we made mention of employment in one of your submissions, and you made mention of the shadow boys. Now, this can be a source of employment. Let's employ these shadow boys to ensure that these drivers will not take exorbitant prices and whatever. See,
the shadow boys are looking for their Koko view
because they are not employed. When you employ them, they know that at the end of the month they are taking it, and they have responsibility to ensure. Sometimes they are there in as much as they are in need of money. They tend to help. Sorry to say, the old women who cannot actually fight for the cars. Sorry to say, the disabled, and they have compassion on these people. And you understand, they are there because they also need something. But if these people are being employed and have been taxed to ensure that this is the amount, and they know all the prices, ensure that they don't take exorbitant prices, and ensure that they can in return arrange the people. When you go to some of the states, you have these boys giving numbers and telling them to wait. There are cars coming and what have you. Some of them are doing this because they are not employed. And this has become the situation. They are now parts of the transport system. What government can actually do, or the district assemblies can actually do, is to call these people, put them together, train them and employ them. Let them be the task force. They understand the in and out and the operation of the work, and let them help. Other than that,
as much as I agree with you, when sometimes this is some of these shadow boys, when you pay attention to them, you'd see that some of them are drug addicts, some of them are high, some of them look bruised, probably beaten up. I don't want to draw conclusions, but it could be from fights, it could be from probably attempting to steal. So as much as it would help, in theory, it would help to employ these shadow boys as the necessary task force to check some of these things. We need to also make sure that we evaluate the people we are employing. Because if you go and employ a drug addict that has not been rehabilitated, you are likely to run at a loss because he's going to invest all that into the drugs. And for the fact that these drivers and mates, they all know themselves, right? So now, assuming I'm a driver, I know this shadow boy here is a drug addict. And I want to get away with some of my bad behavior. I'm likely to bribe him, even plug him onto more people who will give him the best of the best products, right? So in that case, we would still be facing a bigger problem because now the people you set there, they themselves are also now going to be implicit in some of the problems. So that's where I'm also looking at that. As much as it will be good, they need to be rehabilitated. They need to be desensitized about certain things first. Because some of them are homeless. They live on the streets. There are times where maybe for one or two reasons, you're out in town after 10 p.m. and you see them there.
So will it be that sometimes too, the unemployment can also, make them take the drugs? Because if they are jobless and they don't have the work, that is what will make them frustrated. They'll go for the drugs. But let's take it the other way around. They are being sorted. They know at the end of the month they have the sound mind to work. Let's think about the positives too. Do you get it?
It's a whole cycle. The unemployment, the depression, all of that is causing them to go into drugs. Some of them have become homeless. Now, even with being paid monthly, these people, they get their monies from these drivers every single day. The transition into monthly from daily wages itself will also they will need to undergo that. And then also, most of them are dressed very shabbily. Sometimes you don't even want them to touch you because, my goodness, the stench that is coming from some of these young men. So all of that. So in looking at the criteria for employment and all of that, and as Peter will say, budget constraints, how much are they even going to be paid?
So you see,
because my mind has come to this trend I saw. Someone died in the flood, unfortunately, and someone was going to retrieve the body, right, in the water, and he was there demanding 3,000 cedis before he, retrieves the body for whoever the relative of that body, the corpses. And so coming back to that everybody is just here looking for money to do what they want to.
So you see, once it is being regulated, and I always cite Kwashiman as an example. From Kwashiman,
the day you move to some hills there.
Kwashiman, close to the KFC. Yes, I think there's a station there. There are buses, both taxis, all kind of buses that in the morning, and then we have two people there who regulate it. When you want to go to the ministries, wherever you want to go, you go there. There's a seat there for you, and we have two people regulating, calling the buses and whatever. And so I'm sure that we pay something. They also take something to ensure that they keep the place neat. And so if you are not even going to employ these boys directly, and even if you are going to employ them, there will be some kind of screening. But then if you get to understand that at every station we have people responsible to ensure that, I know the place I'm talking about, it's just a bus stop, and then we cannot get chairs available for people. But then if it is being regularized, we have people ahead, somebody who is there to regulate. Then when you get there, maybe you're going to Sochi, you're going to Kwashiman, you have to be in this queue. Buses are coming. When we have people regulating it, it will work well. And then at the end of the day, there's something that, there's going to be some form of transaction that at the end of the day, they can get something for people who are involved. So it is not necessarily going to be a 1 month's pay. But I think that we should try to regularize it and see how well it is going to go. And I think there are some of the people you are talking, some of them, they just come there, they are not even in their right senses.
Exactly.
But we have
so
they're not
decent,
sound.
we're then to
we
find
have
out
other
the decent ones.
young ones who are there, not necessarily for the money, but they are there. I spoke to one, they are there to just help the aged, the old ones, because the way people rush into those cars.
Honestly, if you talk about how they dress, that's questionable though. But sometimes we tend to judge based on appearance, and we don't really. Is it like that when you see somebody for the first time, and then you just say that, oh, this person is not in their right senses, or they're not mentally sound and all of that.
That's based on behavior.
Oh, okay. But sometimes you get close, you speak to them, and you realize that they are actually sound. In fact, there are some smokers, or there are some people who deal in drugs, and you see them, you feel like, oh, this one is mad. But you talk to them and you realize, oh, this guy is very, very sound. So I don't think we should judge by sometimes their appearance too. Because if you look at them, they really do the job very well. They really do the job.
So that's why I even made mention of the fact that it is some. There are different kinds. So with the people that Peter and I were talking about, the fact that they may not even have sound mind, it is not just about the appearance, but sometimes the interaction with them, it's even the interaction with their own colleagues and mates and all of that. You see that this young man, some of them even, you'd see that they've been beaten up. You'd see that they've picked fights. Some of them even fight there sometimes. And then we the ones who are just looking for a car to board, now we are caught in the middle because two people were pulling you and now they want to fight over you, all of that. And it's like, come on, it is just boarding car. But the energy with which they want to fight, it makes you question whether truly this person, everything is okay, But not to dwell on the transport issue too much, we are moving to the flood issue. And like I said, we'll be speaking with Madame Florence Sumalan Pucci. She's a public health director at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and she's on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're well.
By His grace, I'm good. Thank you for having me too.
All right. So Peter is here, and he will be asking a few questions with regards to the flooding issue. So I'm handing over to you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us this morning. We really appreciate.
Thank you for having me, my dear.
All right, so first of all, I would like to begin with what has the AMA Public Health Directorate actually done differently this year to break this endless cycle, or are we simply waiting for the same suffering again next year? What measures has the Public Health Directorate put in place with regards to the aftermath of this flood? Talking about the outbreak of cholera and what have you. What is the Public Health Directorate doing, and what has it done actually?
Okay, thank you very much, as I earlier on said. So, with flood waters, they carry so many form of different objects. For instance, they carry along debris from our homes, they carry chemicals, they carry medical waste, they carry pathogens and all that, and sewage. And when all these ones come together, they form what we call the toxin breed. So the toxin breed is a highly contaminated water that when any food substance touches. So as you are asking what we are doing, as environmental health officers, our main mandate at this point is emergency response. And what are some of the emergency response that we are doing? We are making sure that we work so much on food safety, because during flooding, a lot of food articles come into contact with the flood water. And the traders sometimes want to play fast. They will want to re-dry this food product and then resell it in the market. However, any food item that gets contact into flood water becomes contaminated. And when we eat such food, it causes cholera, typhoid fever, hepatitis A and E, and diarrhea, dysentery, and others. So we are advising the general public that when you go to the market to buy something, the public health, we have a serious say we say in the public health. It is in doubt, or if you are not sure, discard it. Don't eat it. When you are buying the thing, find out if it is already cooked food. What kind of water have they used to cook this food? Could the water be contaminated? Where has the food been prepared? Could the surface be contaminated? If you don't have answers to this, please discard. Don't eat. This is the time we need to minimize eating food from outside and then eating food from home. Yesterday, like this, myself and my team, we have some hotspot areas that we know that they are flat food areas that market women mostly saw their food. So when you went to all those areas to see what was going on, every food item that was had come into contact with flat, the first thing we did was to take those items away and to write their names down. So at the end of the day, we hand over their names, the state of their laws to management, and management will ensure that they compensate them. If you don't do that and you leave the market woman alone, they will salvage these contaminated food items and then resell it back to us. For example, fish, meat, vegetables, corn dogs, and others. So these are some of the things they will resell it and sell to us. So as environmental health officers, our main mandate is to protect public health. So this is the time to put it preventive actions. Because if you are able to educate the people, sensitize the people, let them know that the flood water is so contagious. Any food item that it touches, it is contaminated. Some will even say, let me taste it and see if it is spoiled. My dear, contamination has no taste. Contamination has no color. Contamination has no smell. Immediately you know that it has been contaminated, discard it. So this is what we are doing in the system to also make sure that we bring down the outbreak that is coming. For instance, It doesn't necessarily mean that when there is flooding, there should be outbreak of diseases. When there's flooding and then sensitization is gone down well, the diseases come down, because when we are able to take care of our neighbor, we make sure that we clean our environment after the flood. We save lives.
Right. Thank you very much, Madam Florence. Not to cut you short, you made mention of food. We want to find out how often do you check the food handler's certificate as a way of helping the ordinary Ghanaian to know that the food they are buying outside is actually clean and healthy. How often do you check food handler's certificate with regards to the sellers on our street?
Thank you very much. In regard to food handler certificate is done Others do it biannual, others does it annually. So when we are in the field, because for us, mostly environmental officers, we meet our clients in their comfort zone. We go to them to work with them. We go to them to educate them. Our clients don't come to us. When our client is coming to us, it means there's an issue. That is why they are coming. But when they are okay, they sit in their comfort zone for us to go and meet them. So when we go to do our normal routine day-to-day inspection, we make sure that every food handler, every food processing company, we ensure we check to see whether they have their medical certificate. And one reason why we check this medical certificate is that we examine the people handling the food to see if they are free from any form of communicable disease like typhoid, hepatitis A, TB, and other things. So when we check and then we do the screening and we realize that you have passed the test, before we give you the card, if you don't pass the test, we ask you to go for treatment. When you are fit and then you come back for re-inspection, then if you pass, we hand over the card for you. So officers are always in the field every day ensuring that people have a valid medical certificate. If your medical certificate expired and you are selling and an officer gets you, you can be prosecuted in court and you will be fined and you can spend not less than 3 months in prison custody. I am speaking with you. Last week, we prosecuted 4 food vendors that has expired medical certificate. 3 of them were able to pay for their fine. The remaining one is in Insawam at the moment.
Right. So it means that, after this flood, we saw a whole lot. The reason why I asked of the food handler certificate is the fact that after the flood and people embarking on rescue missions and what have you, we saw that most of these sellers, most of these people who sell foods, those who are engaged in restaurants and what have you, we saw the filth that were accumulated in some of these places. And so people were asking questions that we have the Public Health Directorate who always go around to check. Did not they see this kind of filth, or like the Public Health Directorate, sorry, you don't have the numbers, you need support, or you don't have the requisite, resources to help you undertake some of these activities, because what we saw is very bad. And most people are angry and they are saying that they are not safe anymore.
Thank you very much. You see, what we saw, I can tell you about 85% is human induced. Why am I saying that? In this country, we are practicing polluter pay system. So when you produce your waste, you must pay for it to be disposed. A lot of people are refusing to pay for their waste to be disposed. People hoard their waste in their homes. And when it is raining, they go out to dispose of this rain through the drains. And this is what we saw. We mostly come out to complain, and then we use our own hands to do this, then come back to harm us. There's a saying that water never loses its way. It has never forgotten where it is supposed to pass. So whatever you do to nature, nature will come back to haunt you. Talking about the numbers of environmental officers, sure, I can tell you that we have limited environmental officers throughout the whole country. When you go to some district assembly, they have just 4-5 environmental health officers handling over 5,000 people. The whole country, we have less than 4,000 environmental health officers in the whole country. Meanwhile, we have officers that have completed school since 2022, and they are still in their houses. Government is not posting them. Because if you want to manage waste successfully, you need regulators. You need the environmental officers. They are the sanitation police. So if you don't equip them, they cannot work. During the rainy season, officers will want to go out to monitor to see people who are disposing of refuse through the drains. But the question is, do we even have the mobility? Do we have the access to transportation that will take us to go and do this monitoring? The environmental officer is under-resourced in this country. When we are talking sanitation and then we are not looking at the environmental health officer, we are not going to achieve what we want to do. Yes, we want private companies to come and manage waste. But if the private company is managing the waste, you need a regulator to regulate the private company to do it well. Last week, it was a talk of town that there are a lot of refuse at Kaneshie Market. That place has been given to a waste collection company who is supposed to collect the waste. So if you don't have environmental officers who will regulate that waste collecting company, who is not collecting the waste, make sure that the person is being brought to book. The waste will be there. So the private company alone cannot manage the waste in this country. You need the technical officers to work hand in hand, because waste management or sanitation is a collaborative effort. And in this country, whatever they look at is the solid aspect of environmental health. That is the waste. But we should know that aside the waste, we have the soft component, which is law enforcement, which is behavior change, which is health education. So you need the environmental officers to do this. You understand? So it's high time government resource environmental officers in this country. It's high time government give clearance to the students in the houses, because they have completed school of hygiene. If they feel that the environmental officer is not needed in the country, then they should close the school of hygiene so that people will stay. They cannot be turning out students. They come out and they are in the houses. You will not post them. You won't give clearance. Meanwhile, you say you want to manage sanitation. How can you manage sanitation in the country without environmental health officers being resourced, being given the needed logistics? Every country that neglects their environmental health officers will never succeed in managing environmental health and sanitation issues.
Right. So in your honest assessment, what you're saying is that government and other government bodies are letting you down, especially the AMA. Is that what you're saying?
Not only the AMA, throughout the whole country, environmental health officers have been let down. We have been neglected. It's like they tie our hands at our back and said we should run. An environmental officer will go and see somebody dumping refuse in the drain. You arrest the person. You want to take the person to court. Immediately you serve the person with summons. They will call somebody at the higher side. Then a call will come. Leave the person. Don't send the person to court. The political interference in the environmental health enforcement is becoming so rampant. That is why we cannot go far.
Right. So, in your honest opinion, what should be done to, solve this current issue? Because as we speak, most people are suffering. After the flood, we saw the filth. People are even angry, and people were calling on AMA, your directorate, that you are not working, you are not putting measures in place. Now that we've seen some of the things that are preventing you from actually working, what do you think government should do to ensure that you are up and doing?
A call to action for the government is, first of all, it is in 2 or 3 sessions. The first one is that they should restore the environmental health officers. They should give us means of transport so that we will be able to go to the field. Government should put uniform on environmental officers, because we are law enforcers. Every law enforcement officer must wear a uniform. A uniform is something that also leads to compliance. When somebody is doing something wrong and sees that this is a law enforcement person coming, he or she is a sanitation officer coming in uniform, they will stop. You see, sometimes it irritates me when people say, let's go back and bring the tanker. Let's go back and bring the samasana. It means we don't even know what we are doing. We don't know what we are doing. Even elite people are saying this. So the government should first of all clothe the environmental health officers, give us the needed logistics that they need to work. Then the officers will work. The second one is they should give clearance to those students, those that are in the houses that are not posted. They should post them to come and augment those that are around. Look, this is 6 Monday till now. AMA alone, we have conveyed not less than 20 bodies. Yesterday at 12 o'clock, my officers were burying a body because the body has been decomposed and cannot be sent to the mortuary. And you can also go and take the decomposed body and go and keep it there and say, tomorrow I will go and do it. When you pick it, you need to go and bury it. So we go through all these things. You understand? With the little resources, if we are resourced, you think we cannot do more than what we are doing?
Right. And so before I let you go, has there been any collaboration between your directorate and the Ministry of Health? As we can see, the harm has been caused already. And then right from now, from 7 to 14 days now, we start to experience the cholera and what have you. Is there any collaboration between you and the Ministry of Health to help, residents who are affected by this flood?
We are praying that we are not going to experience cholera. So we are collaborating. We are collaborating with the NADBO. We are collaborating with the Ghana Health Services. We are collaborating with the community development. We are collaborating with the social welfare. So we are all on ground. We are distributing chlorine tablets to all affected areas so that they will dechlorate their water, decontaminate it before they can use it. We are also advising that people should boil their water before they drink. Let's reactivate the hand washing facility. In our homes, let's have the hand washing facility. That is, we wash our hands under running water with soap. Let's drink safe water. If you are in doubt, boil the water. Please, let's sleep under mosquito nets. Let's clean our environment. Let's pour all dirty water around our areas away. Let's weed around our homes so that it will prevent all the communicable diseases that we are likely to face within these 14 days. But mind you, the education is going down. And due to that, we pray that we are not going to experience any serious outbreak after this flood.
Right. Thank you very much, Madam Flores, for your time with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mandy.
So that was Madam Florence Malan Kuchi. She is a public health director at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And we saw videos of some of the effects of the flooding issues where we could see the amount of filth. And this is at Laboma Beach. So let's take a look at it again, and then we talk about it briefly.
Kejimpo obele shapo ni me kedai wonu domri ne baboti o shapo amie aneba ngo na loni na na efe eji dai ni timo di no ni biani ni won ne ma bi di nte loka wo gbodo enu domri woni di enyo ka wonye bedigba here ka wonu pure water wonwe wo foshi wayeni wonwe wo foshi fe eboti onu jo amri di keji number ne keke ewo fe ke bala pesie na nya wona wole ake blema ku pesie na aba he olo e bi ene aba to ka si mene ebele na kendo a he olo atoka etu me anitu mo he keji odemo pesie na no kwa be ku e nitu mo wulu ya jeme na keno okwa dro nitu mo wuji ya jeme keji bo obele shapo ni me kedai wonu domri ne baboti o shapo amie aneba ngo.
All right, so that was someone at Laboma complaining about the filth. My guy is still a work in progress. So, Bevelyn, if you can give us a briefing on what you're saying.
I'll try it. Okay. My guy is not actually 100%, but I'll try my best. So, that was a very good report from a Ghana blogger. And from what he's saying that this is the filth we as a country have made. And he's not really happy about the situation because he's saying that even if we are doing the filth, have we forgotten that this same filth goes into the sea to poison the fishes that we get from the sea? That same filth can, generate diseases like cholera, malaria, and so many waterborne diseases that might even kill us or affect us. So he's just calling on everybody to probably educating us. We should be up and doing. That's what he's saying.
Right. He mentioned Peshi. I know of the Peshi Lagoon, or does Peshi also have a different meaning?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's.
But I think this particular where he's standing is Laboma.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday I passed there. I saw the situation, and oh my God, that river itself that enters the sea from Labadi Beach there. Even on a normal day, the place is very filthy. The place is very filthy, and I don't personally see people fish, especially
I don't think
the beach
fish there even.
Yeah, the beach area. But then it's quite sad. It's quite sad. The filth there.
And with this video, there were comments on it about the fact that the people that manage the Laboma Beach Resort take quite high prices to enter. And I mean, it's a beach. There are obviously going to be various vendors there and all of that. But why is there a need for an entry fee? So people are saying that at this point, why are you calling on the government? All that money you've been taking for entry fee to park your car before you go in to access one of the resorts there and then enjoy yourself. Before you get there, you may have paid a minimum of 50 cedis. So now that, you know, a matter has arisen there, use the money to sort.
Yeah, you want to say that you are not being fair. You are not being fair at all.
No, but people were complaining about Lamboma a lot too, especially the Christmas era. They hiked the prices to just enter the beach.
Well, they have the right to complain, but with this, we cannot use that as an excuse because the filth we are seeing there is not from that, you know, beach.
It's coming from somewhere.
The city. And then I'm not happy at all with this interaction that we just had. I'm not happy at all.
So
with the
Peter,
woman saying that.
Please hold on. So I've realized people are calling the WhatsApp number. So let me just remind you all, just alert you that the WhatsApp number is strictly for WhatsApp, and then the call number is for calls. And yes, the phone lines have been open, so please divert your calls to the call number so that you can weigh in on the conversation here. The WhatsApp number comes to me, and I cannot pick the call on set. Thank you. Please be good.
Yes. So I'm saying that I'm not happy at all. We are here. We are bashed. We lambasted AMA, the health directorate, that they are not educating the people. They are not working. The Saman is not back. Little did we know that they don't even have what it takes. They don't even have the numbers. We are here. We are crying of unemployment, and we know we are bashing institutions. The same thing happened when we were talking about demolition exercise. We said that even engineers in every assembly, you cannot even. So I mean, see, this is a systematic failure. There's a whole lot that we need to do. Let's assume that these people are well resourced, well equipped. We wouldn't be seeing that filth that we are seeing at Laboma Beach. Where are we expecting this filth to actually go? Where are we expecting this filth to actually go? This is a place people go there to have fun. This is a place people go there to enjoy life. And this is not coming from anywhere. It is coming from our city, Accra. The filth we actually, put together. Look at what is happening. We've failed as a country. And you see, sometimes people do not want us to blame our leaders. But this time around, I would say our leaders are actually disappointing us. We have the institutions, but we don't have the men, we don't have the personnel to actually work. You see, if we don't know, we'll be lambasting these people that they are not working. Not knowing they don't even have what it takes. And the same thing applies to housing as well. We don't have them.
Yeah.
So
and we're always talking about, employment. They need to employ people, but nothing is happening. Sometimes we say there are no jobs, but there are actually jobs. And training can be done, because even if you are just an SHS leaver, definitely there's something you can learn. You are literate enough to know ABC 1, 2, 3. You could be trained to do some of these jobs and things like that. But now our systems have become so I don't want to use a derogatory word, but it's become as though you need to hold a certain type of certificate or qualification before you can acquire a job. And then it becomes that, so now as a degree holder, some of these jobs that are not necessarily going to be higher paying, they don't also want to do these jobs because, like I say, in these task forces and stuff, who wants to do that after going through so much education to going? This is not to say that the job is not a good job, though. We're talking about the nature of the job and what level of qualifications you even need for it. These things are all part of the problem, because now the person will say, I'm a degree holder, I cannot be doing this. You see. Okay, we have Jacob on the line. Hello, Jacob.
You are in the stadium. I wanted to speak for those girls there.
Hello?
What I wanted to talk about the water.
Okay.
You see, this is our problem. All caused by those doing the energy drinks, and those at the town control plan is selling the lands for the people. Look, I'm busy to get a land and build. I didn't know this is a water long area. You see, The plot, as I'm saying now, the plot I built my house. I bought the plot fee. Later, I get to know that the place is a hospital, Bolaka Yikene Hospital land, and they condemn and sell it for me. So you see, those are building at the waterlogged. It's not their fault. It's for those at the office they're selling the lands for people. They know you go school and qualify. They put you in that office to do the work. Why don't you do the work? What's supposed you to do? I wanted a place to build. I didn't know anything. I'm from Boku, come to Bolga, wanted a land. I would never know that when rain fall, this is the place the water pass. See now our people dying like this. Those are making the energy trains, this water, voltage thing. One of them didn't come out and said, "Oh, it's true. This is going to affect us because of money." You see, our leaders, they make the country democratic to favor themselves, not we the suffering, not we those are suffering. You see, Ghana, we need a strong soldier, military rule. When a soldier come and take over and said, no one should make this voting case, they will not do it. When they go to that office and say, don't sell any land for anybody who don't know, say here is a waterlogged, they will not do it. Democracy, I don't like it at all, but I don't have power. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your submission. So he's also talking about the fact that citizens also don't know which lands are waterlogged and whatnot. And, well, the onus also lies on us. You know, when you're educated to a certain point, there are certain things that are expected of you. This is not to say that you are to blame, though, but you should be able to ask questions, you know, that this place. So even sometimes when you go there, you're interacting with them, it shouldn't just be, I'm here for land and whatnot, but make inquiries about the area, the topography of the land, all of that, because in the end, you are going to live there. And if you don't show that much interest in the place, what happens when you are faced with something like this? You now be living with regret.
So, not to cut you, but then I'll say that, yes, you can choose to ask questions, but you sometimes ask the questions and people are just not truthful.
Okay.
People are just not truthful. Recently, a friend rented a room, and the room was perfect. If it rains, like the rains are not heavy, she's okay. Recently, she realized that when it rains, the rains actually gets to the room. So just imagine this particular person already leaving the room had told her that, oh, this is the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk to the landlord about it. They can solve issues. So you see, you can ask all the questions that you want to ask, but the person giving the room to you, the people in the area, if they're not telling you what actually the truth is, you will still be found wanting. So we are just not truthful.
So, okay, then I think I will counter that again by also saying that sometimes people tell us on social media that when you are going to rent, when you are going to buy a house or land, go there in the rainy season. Go there. I think I recently, even with this flooding issue, I recently saw something like that where the post was saying that when you are going to live in a particular neighborhood, or you're going to buy a plot of land, or you're renting a house, whichever decision you're taking, go there at certain times of the day to see. So even as the person who is going to make this investment, you are also expected, or you should be able to do some due diligence for yourself. Like you've established, some people are not truthful. Yes. So now you yourself to go and make certain verifications. So I think the comment was about go there at 7 a.m. to see how commuting to the nearest roadside bus stop or whatever is, go there at 3 p.m. or something, and then go there at 9 p.m. to see how the neighborhood is, whether, you know, it is prone to armed robbery, if it's well lit, you know, street lights, all of those things, so that by the time you make that decision, you have been informed by certain factors that, you were the one who saw with your own eyes. This is not to
Yes.
sort of put too much responsibility on us, but we also have a role to play.
In as much as we have a role to play, like what you described, then what will be the essence of the people in the offices we've put in charge to do that? Yeah, so the caller that called actually has a point. He says he's not here, he doesn't live here in Accra. He's from Boko, straight to Accra, wanting a place to buy. And you will attest to the fact that it is not easy to get to know every place here in Accra for, let's say, even a year. It will take time.
Even those in Accra don't even know so many places.
And that's why we have entrusted this kind of responsibility into people we have employed that we have to pay. You see, throughout this week, I've learned so many things about this flooding issue in Ghana. I've come to learn that it's not only about climate change. It's not only about people, choking gutters. It's not about we opening our drains. And it's not about the 5 billion we are looking for. And it's not about the Garrett project, the 350, million, dollars that we are looking for. But it's about employment. It's about government looking into these district assemblies, people who are responsible to regulate, to implement the laws, the rules that we have beautifully sitting on the papers. Because last week we learned that the district assemblies, we don't even have enough, engineers, planning officers. And today we are also learning that even the health directorate that are responsible to educate the people, they don't even have the resources. They don't have the personnel. Then how are we expecting that these assemblies or our communities will be very clean when the people who are supposed to ensure that people actually learn? We know that we are all educated, we go to learn, but we still need these people to ensure that we don't litter our places and what have you. These people, we don't have them. And now we are bashing them. So it means that we are even abashing them wrongly.
Exactly.
Because we are using the limited resources that we have.
The system is not working.
It's not working. And we are still complaining about unemployment. So I think that we have to look into this issue thoroughly. Let us, employ people. Let us resource these, institutions that are responsible to ensure that we don't flood our areas. We don't choke our gutters. And once we're able to do that, I want to hear from this time going. I want us to, hear good news that when we are talking to these people, they will tell us, oh, we now have this number of people, and in each community we have this number of personnel. They're working to ensure that we have this. And also about our waste management. It is becoming a problem. This field that we are seeing, almost half of the field is made up of plastics. And then when you go outside the country, those who are into the manufacturing of plastics, when you want to dispose them, there are ways you dispose them, and they come for them to recycle, turn them into different things. But in our case here in Accra, even here at the ministries, how many dustbins do you see when you're going?
You hardly see them.
So speaking of the waste management waste management, basically, we have a video that was sent to us by a viewer. His name on WhatsApp is In God I Trust. But the comment under this was yesterday at Nkrumah Circle, just 2 minutes from the Vodafone office, the city of Accra, where are the assemblymen, the MCs, and the so-called members of parliament. Let's take a look at the video.
The whole circle, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, city of Accra. Wow, your ball a lot of Kwame. Oh, Charlie. Oh, no. Charlie. Very bad. Kwame Nkrumah Circle, it's so to a ball away now. It's so to a ball away never fine. It's so to see a ball away never fine. The whole circle, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, city of Accra. Wow, your ball a lot of Kwame. Oh, Charlie. Oh, no.
Right, so that was the video, and it makes you wonder. I think today on the way to work, I was thinking that, are we really sure there's a difference between you who pays for your rubbish or your waste to be taken away? There's a difference between you and the person who litters, because there doesn't seem to be any proper waste management in the country. I don't know if it was last year or early this year, I was having this conversation with Madam Florence here, and she was also talking about the fact that we need to really invest in recycling.
Exactly.
Because these landfill sites, what happens? Let's use something like Lavender Hill, as we know it. Yeah. Imagine there is some kind of torrential rain that sweeps all of that into the city. What happens? You know, even on Tuesday, I was even saying again, I think this thing is on my heart. I wish I had money so I can start that business where we start a recycling value chain where we make waste a very hot commodity. Because I think when I was speaking with the personnel from EPA, he was also saying that having to get the waste and clean it up before you recycle it is also a problem.
Yeah,
it's going to be a large investment. But when we think about the future, where are we going? Because look at the amount of plastic waste. Even our caller mentioned that the people who make the drinks and all of that, every single time, bottles and sachets and take away rubber and styrofoam and whatnot, every time there's something in production, it is even a source of business for some people, income. But what about the waste? Where is it going? And these things take, I think, one of them takes a minimum of 60 years to decompose fully. That is somebody's full lifetime, and that one plastic has not decomposed.
Well, yeah, I think we should all come to an understanding that we as a country, we lack waste management. Waste, because it's quite obvious that this market women, circle, pedestrians, they don't know what to do with the waste. So they leave it there.
And there are no bins.
They leave it there.
So
they don't know where it should go.
So when we talk about citizens also doing the right thing, there's the question of where should I do the right thing? Yeah. So now you've come to work, you've bought your food and all of that. There is no bin around. So should you put this waste in your bag? You know, I mean, ideally that's what we are told to do. That okay, keep it somewhere until. But here's the case: maybe from work to the commute home is only in your home bin. So are you going to keep that there? What happens when you forget and it starts going bad? Another source of illness. So it's like both parties, leadership and then the citizens, we each have roles to play here. Provide the bins for us, provide proper waste management for us so that we can also adhere to it.
You see, the other time I said that we should get a legal dumping site, which of course we don't have.
We don't need a dumping site, Peter.
For now, I mean, so the fact is that those who come, the tricycles that come around to pick those, where do they take them to?
Now they've created their own.
And then President Mama even said that these people dump these, rubbish in, waterways to fill the place.
Yes.
Once it becomes, level, then they sell it. And I also think that we should hold, the manufacturers of these plastics, accountable as well. Now, before now, there was this, initiation that after, even when you buy pure water, after drinking it,
we should keep them together and they'll come for it. And what happened to that?
Yes. With these plastic bottles, those manufacturing, there should be some form of agreement that it should be the same thing. They should be able to collect them. And there should be something, some people say incentives and people will do that. And we should get dustbins.
It's a problem.
We are always liaising with either the East or the West over the next technological advancement and whatnot. Why isn't waste management part of it? Why isn't recycling part of it? Because, I mean, we see some of these videos and you see how they take up plastics and use it into something very innovative, something that can even be reusable. This beautiful, centerpiece here could be made of plastic and it could be just from our own waste. It becomes valuable. It's a source of employment for somebody because from cleaning it to turning it to reusing it even in the consumer setting, even to making it into a new artifact, all of these can provide jobs for people.
Because honestly, I wouldn't blame the ordinary Ghanaian if they are doing what they are doing. I wouldn't blame them at all because they don't have anywhere to dump this. And I remember some time ago, people usually gather their rubbish and burn them. They say we shouldn't burn them.
Yes, but burning also now brings a different problem.
So
pollution.
It's all a matter of how we should manage it. Because somebody could sit in the room, think that, people don't have anywhere to, dump their rubbish. Why don't I go around from home to home, take monies from them, and then just go and dump it somewhere?
Yes, even speaking of that, there's a video on a driver who was caught dumping refuse on the Insawam Suhum Road. Let's take a look so we see how bad this situation is.
Tinya kraka fiti ekyekye abeyi bola abesi ha ana machim na say yemmo yentin bola no sa so ne back ana wasoa bola no na ode ko back esese ye boa no man no oman ni mu da ho kama hwe ya chew fiti en sawon besi ko so hum ya chew se the ball agu kwan no ho a owura be wo ye di oman no mu ni ya be ye oman ni ye ya pani fo no omo bom ho mode yese be bo ye ho mode bi aboa se sabala na kan fa gum na ko Master boy se brede bia mu down hey fatu se tinu na ko wa tira se ofi mfia se hu bola obekọ hu bi wa ugraka ofa nipa na nipa bola ku kere madu station wa yato wa prako station no mo dustbin wa yato dustbin no ya brangu pa hu ya pra bola no ngu kwa hu se aban no sam mo ka sam pe nipa sam besisa wa sisa ni na ba ensori mu andam wa brena out paake de ya obe fie bola gu ano wa sisa wa de ko oh Memo kama pasi asem kwa utru kwa se eneno they are free e ka woni die ho asem amu di agro Fowe Abranti Oshebola Ukraka etinya Ukraka fiti ekyekye abeyi bola abe.
Right, so that was a video, and as commendable as it was for, you know, as for the guy being the brother's keeper, holding him accountable that no, you shouldn't dump this thing here. Bevelin's point comes back into action that there is nowhere to throw this rubbish. What stops the young man from driving a few miles ahead and doing the exact same thing he intended to do there? You see? Exactly.
And looking at the video, the guy seems like the rubbish wasn't even the amount to what he poured there. He was made to carry a lot.
Put it back into the sack.
It boils down to where should we throw them? Where should we throw them? Because honestly, like you said, people can't accumulate rubbish in their homes, their rooms. Somebody is living in a single room, self-contained, some cannabis. They cannot know where do you expect them to throw the rubbish?
And aside that, the rubbish is made of many different kinds. Again, I will say this: the food we eat. Sometimes, I mean, there are leftovers and all of that. It can be diverted into the agricultural sector, composting and whatnot to help fertilize the soil. It is another form of, income for somebody where you go around taking food waste for, the animal husbandry or for the soil and whatnot. Because, I mean, those rearing the domestic animals, they feed these animals with the food. Those who have dogs too, they feed them sometimes and all of that. So if we also have the recycling system where we segregate our waste, we have the paper waste, we have the food one, the liquids and the toxic waste, everything, even our own excreta is even used to generate electricity, biogas, all of that. Why can't we sit down and have a comprehensive, decision being made about these things and then start, because Ghanaians are made of filth at this point. We live with it.
So until the writing is done, until we look for proper waste management systems, people will still continue to pour rubbish in water and then everywhere.
That they can do it. The government can do it. We need them to be up and doing.
So what we have to do is that we just have to intensify the education about waste segregation. Once we're able to do that, and in every household, we have like, let's say 3 dustbins. This is for plastics, this is for this is for this. And I'm sure that the people who are into recycling or whatever you will come and even pick some of these waste without even you paying. Because in turn, they are going to, process it and turn it into something else of which they are going to benefit. So what we should be doing right now is that we should intensify the education about waste segregation. And then we should get legal dumping sites. We know that for the whole of AMA, site A is where they are supposed to dump their rubbish. For the whole of other parts here in Accra, so that we know. And then those tricycles that have been coming, that have been collecting these, refuse from our various homes, these people need to be registered and regulated. We need to hold these people very accountable. Some time ago, there was this discussion about these tricycles go for the rubbish and they don't cover it. By the time they get to wherever
they've sprayed it all over.
We started holding these people accountable. It got to some time, we stopped. And currently it's still ongoing. So I think that we need to regulate it.
Yeah.
And then we should have to call for, private institutions. Government should invest. Other private institutions are sure to
Even the
invest in the
international
recycling.
bodies that they keep signing agreements with and whatnot. Why can't we
You see, the problem
have
is
something there?
the segregation. So they come and they say that we don't separate our waste. So it becomes so difficult. Like you rightly said, they have to also spend money to segregate the waste.
Yes, and use it to create job
homes
for somebody. Somebody now will be a certified waste segregator. That is his job. And he's making the money, he's happy, he's able to feed his family. Why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't we do it?
And there's also a question about, it's been a while. I don't see the Zoom Lion
anymore. Yeah. And then there can be campaigns about it. It starts from education.
Yeah.
If, let's say, the government embarks on something like this, starts this initiative, then launches campaigns like the hand washing campaign, all of that. You launch a campaign about waste segregation. That look, people, when you mentioned the 3 dustbins, I just heard somebody say, "Me dustbin bakuka me living in." So fine, there are so many alternatives. These bags of, even someone was using a sack. Yeah. We educate people to learn how to segregate their waste. That okay, when you finish eating, whatever the case, as long as it is food, it's edible, put it here. When it's paper, put it here. When it's plastic, put it here. Even the plastic, there are types. Divide them, do this, do that. And then people start to learn. So with that, after some time, when now these initiatives are also standing on their feet, when we start to try to employ people into doing this, it will be easier for them. But in the long run, majority of the nation is not going to segregate their waste because they are used to just bundling everything up and dumping because they know it is waste. And so it's going to require a lot from us too.
It's doable. We can do it. Other countries are doing it.
When I get money, I'll do it.
It's doable. It's a profitable venture. And I think that we should look into that. And most of our schools have proven that they can recycle, they can change these plastics into something. Most of the schools, I was watching some video online, I saw that they've turned these plastic, bottles into something very beautiful. Even at the basic level,
even
they are doing it.
For construction even.
Exactly. So,
I think we've started something like I see bottles being used as baskets and everything. It has started, but we still have a long way to go. We have a long way to go.
There is a part of our beach that is a dumping site for clothing. Some time back, we spoke about it. We showed it also on TV. And it is appalling. These clothes are made of fabric. These fabrics can be used for something else. All of these things, it's all recycling. Because why is our sea already choked with these clothes? Now look at the amount of filth the floods are also sweeping into the sea. Even wood can be reused. There are people who still use firewood. There are people who still, everything can be repurposed if we want to.
And you see, gradually, I hate to say it, but I think it's high time I say it. Ghana is becoming the dumping site for most, Western countries. We import these second-hand. See, some of these second-hand clothes, you cannot even use it for 2 days, and they bring them here. Unnecessary plastics. As I saw a video, online. so with some gentlemen, like they were living outside, they go to their dumping site, pick things, and ship them to Ghana. Ghana has now become a dumping site for most of these things because we love cheap things. So what happened to industrialization? We producing our own and consuming our own. So I mean, it's a broad conversation that we need to have because one thing triggers another and another triggers another. So to be able to live here in this country devoid of some of these things that we are talking about, we have to take concrete steps. We have to sit down. There should be stakeholder engagement. And right now, we have offices that we don't have people occupying it. One person is actually working for like 20 people. And that, you see, I used to say this, and I will say this thing again. You go to an office that needs to be occupied by 5 people. One person is there, taking huge amount of money, salaries, and
some
leaving
of them
the
are
work.
not even being paid enough for the 5 jobs they are doing. There's also that part.
Well, that is also there. But I'm talking about in terms
leadership.
of leadership and
I'm talking about the citizen level.
In terms, you see, right now we talk and we can't leave out the our leaders, government appointees, and whatever. And now we are talking about district assemblies, and we've come to realize that they don't even have the personnel. They don't have the people. We have the MPs. We are lambasting them. We are bashing them. The district assemblies, they don't have the people there. So what is happening? But we have people occupying those offices and taking huge amount of money, knowing very well that they cannot, work. They cannot actually, certify the ordinary Ghanaian that they need helping hand. You see, the greed is everywhere. No, the greed is everywhere. Even as much as it's budget constraint. Yeah, let's say I'm occupying.
Budget constraints is not an excuse. I don't believe it's an excuse.
I understand it is not. Let's be realistic. Let's be practical here. Maybe the three of us, we've been appointed, we've been employed to ensure that we keep the whole of AMA, clean. Knowing very well that the three of us cannot do that work, and we are taking huge amount of salaries. Knowing very well that we need to employ other people.
We or management?
I mean...
He's using us as an example that 3 of us have been employed.
Yes. Whether it was management that employed us or not, we have to be sincere to ourselves. The tax that you are giving, you cannot do it alone. At the end of the day, there will be gaps. So instead of saying, I cannot do this alone, we have to employ so many people, divide my salary so that we can share it equally among each and every one.
Why do you have to divide the salary?
That is what we are facing.
Blooded human beings do that.
The amount that the president has asked the Honorable Minister for Finance, about 350 million cedis for relief items. This money could have been, pumped into education or health. We are using this money for this because of our negligence, indiscipline, and so many things. With the explanation we had from the health directorate, it means that if we had the people, even though it is a natural disaster, it's inevitable, we will have the rains, but it wouldn't be as
man-made disaster.
You understand? So it means that people are there, and then you see, whether we like it, no matter how educated people are, sometimes they need to force them. The law should work. Once the law is working, fine. But I mean, we have the laws. We don't have anybody enforcing it. And people will do whatever thing they want to do. And imagine from here, you have maybe you drank water, let's say pure water, and from here to Circle, or let's say from here to Koko board, there's no single dustbin that you can dump it in. Where do you want me to put it? But if we have people employed, we have so many gallant young men and women. Like she made mention of, people have completed hygiene school and they are just there. And like you stated, nobody will ever want to go to school for like 4 years, obtain that degree,
come and
do some of these work. Everybody wants to obtain a degree and work in the office, put on tie and suit and come and sit down.
That's what society has put us
So it's high time we do that.
What we need to do is make sure that every job is a dignified job.
And that is why when you go outside, people travel from here and go outside to the Western world and they get employed.
Yes,
because we are not treating some of these jobs
as very important.
Even
last week, West, this few days on Lifestyle, we had that discussion.
The West you are talking about, these jobs that we do not respect here, they have been titled blue collar jobs, and even the people with the blue collar jobs have uniforms. But here in our case,
Yeah.
you see a plumber, you see a carpenter, you see a painter, and the way they are looking,
They are dressed
obviously,
alone.
if your child tells you, I want to be a painter, you want to send the child for deliverance. But you go there, you see a painter, and he has his establishment. He's also well dressed. He has his toolbox. He's no different from the white collar job. You
and
know,
those, they don't even respect those in the bigger offices with the tie.
and they
Nobody
make more
respects
money.
you.
The artisans,
Exactly.
they make
You are
more
supposed to
money.
serve the
I think
people, so they
we
see
have
you as someone who is
to
serving.
have a renewal of mind. The other time I was
Yes,
telling a
deliverance,
guest that
national
we
prayers.
have to deconstruct what society has put us through and then construct the whole thing again. I was very passionate about a topic you raised about waste management, especially when it comes to second-hand clothing. Africa as a whole has become a dumping site for some of these clothings. In a sense that you go to America or you go to some of these countries and a white man will pick a TV that is like barely 5 months old, a refrigerator, basically a furniture that is maybe 40, pack it in front of his house. An African seeing that at the roadside will feel that, oh, Charlie, Oboni we do only answer Steve we nye shame, mami fa no afa no they in Africa. So you see, these are some of the things as Africans, as citizens, we also have to have a renewal of mind for it to work. So if you are blaming government, we also have to blame ourselves as well.
Right. So we have comments here. Moses Dogo, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He says, good morning, my sister. I would like to ask why is it that up till now, none of the people in the NADMO or AMA office have been held accountable for these buildings around these restricted areas? Because this is something that has been happening for years. Then the gentleman who sent us the video we saw at Circle where the rubbish was, kept at the overpass, he says, I'm the one who posted a video from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. What is the job of the assemblymen, AMA, DCs, etc., Ministry of Environment? Our leaders are not helping us, and the only thing they know is money. The dirtiest city in Africa is Accra. I got the idea to solve these problems. The mayor of Accra can call me for advice. He says the government needs to provide a place for dumping rubbish. They have sold all the land and forgot to leave land for waste management. Lack of planning. They only care about their pockets. Okay, thank you for your comments. So let's come to President Mahama's his address he made yesterday at the National.
But
Prayer.
before we go there, there's something that we need to address. In as much, we made mention of the fact that there are no, dumping places.
Yeah.
But we still have legal dumping places. It doesn't mean that anybody at all, because we are saying there are no dumping places, you can go for rubbish and dump it anywhere. When you are caught, you'll be dealt with. There are places that are known for, those things. And then when you ask, you'll be told. But what we are saying that there should be more legal dumping places so that people will not find it very difficult to identify those places. But as we speak, there's designated places for dumping rubbish. That is what I just want viewers to understand.
Okay. So President Mahama says faith must pair with hard work for Ghana's growth. And so this is saying that President Mahama has called on Ghanaians to combine prayer with hard work and discipline if the country is to achieve sustainable development. Addressing the 2026 National Day of Prayer in Accra on July 1, he said every citizen must contribute actively to national progress. According to him, aspirations for growth will only be met when faith is paired with purposeful action and responsibility. He added that scripture shows faith without effort cannot bring meaningful transformation. And for President Mahama, I've seen comments about the fact that this is not his first time as our president. Yeah. This is not his first time in governance. Yeah. So as much as we are seemingly more optimistic about the reset agenda and everything, we have more expectations of him than any other president. There's a lot we are expecting him to be able to do by now, because you've been in power, in the past. These things happened and now you're here again. So what we need to now start seeing action that, okay, since you're saying reset, what are you doing about the reset? We need to hear. It's not just about, the beautiful speeches, but we need to see action because you've been here long enough.
Yeah. I mean, so Yara, research without a collective effort is nothing, zero. Government cannot do everything alone. And over the years and over the past 1 year, 6 months now, we've faced issues which is as a result of partly government and partly the ordinary Ghanaian. That is the indisciplined aspect of it. So I'll still come back to my point that research without collective effort would not work. And I totally agree with Mr. President. Faith without works is zero. It's nothing. Ghanaians have prayed a lot, but that did not solve our issue, our debts as government. It did not build schools for us. Neither did it create employment. And so if you pray without working, it is zero. And if you are praying and you are not diligent in your doing, as a leader, you are not doing the right thing, it is zero. We've prayed enough as a country. Do you know the number of minutes people spend every morning before moving to their workplaces? We have so many institutions praying here in Ghana. It's not all about prayer. When you pray and you don't act, it is zero. It's cost 90. Are we saying that those developing countries they don't pray? Do we pray more than that? Even some African countries, go to Rwanda and see. Look at how developed the place is. Are we saying that they don't believe in God? How many churches do we have here? We are hiding under the guise of faith, under the guise of miracle. I believe in miracle as well, but the Bible even says that. I mean, I'll still go back to his quote, James: faith without work is nothing. And then if you want something and you don't act, heaven help those who help themselves. So you have to act and you pray that out of somewhere what you're doing, God will bless it. But here, everything is prayer. Prayers, we know, moves mountains, but literally, it's the key. But then prayer will not create jobs for you. If you are lazy and you're in your house and you're praying, you will still be lazy and be there. You've been entrusted to do something and you're not doing it very well. You think that the Holy Spirit will descend, will turn to man and work for you. It is zero. And so I believe and I side with the president that faith, the prayer is enough. We are all Christians.
And let me add this one. Even when you are lazy and you want promotion and you are lazy, you will not get a promotion. I want to add it.
You know, we, as you've said, we are an overly religious nation.
Exactly.
Probably even to our detriment. And it is almost that we've forgotten that our environment was also created by the same God we are always praying and calling. And maybe, I don't want to put this responsibility on the religious leaders, but maybe they might also play a role in helping us to understand that if you pollute your environment, it's a sin. Because we've had churches that decide certain things are sins and then the congregation follows. So why don't we start enforcing these things that if you dump rubbish in your neighborhood, you choke the gutters and now it's a sin. And the flood is the punishment for it. If we have, it's a twisted mindset in a way though, but if we sort of come back to the basics that look, some of these things you are doing, even if the Bible hasn't mentioned that, okay, this is a sin, what about you yourself as a thinking human being that you have dumped rubbish here, you are causing, the water to be stagnant. The rivers that were supposed to provide fish for you, you have filled it with sand to build on it. The fish that God created, God also loves them. These things are crimes against, the religious setting. So that at least maybe, because it seems as though we like to pray. When you go around seeing the comments, everybody's talking about, oh, God help us. God help us to do what?
You see, most countries that became richer, they don't focus on prayer. They focused on education,
action,
hard work, and what have you. We are not. You see, when you talk about these issues, you are being painted as antichrist, but that isn't the issue. So you see, prayer did not, create that corruption mindset. Prayer did not, actually, it is high time we sanitize that environment. You see, our pastors, our churches are doing a whole lot. We have so many mosques, we have so many churches, we have so many things. And I think that we should channel the energy, the kind of energy that we have for that kind of, faith this thing. We should channel it into our education, our infrastructure, it's a whole lot. So you see our economy is growing like I rightly stated. It is growing. Currently, it's about 5 to 6%. Inflation is about 5.3, and a whole lot. But we are still battling with unemployment. Is prayer going to solve that? No, prayer is not going to solve that. And so we have to, be up and dealing. We have to be diligent in our doings to ensure that we all play a role in making Ghana a better place for us to live.
And with all the countries that have been used as examples, Rwanda and the rest, we also need to look at the fact that there was a very hefty price paid for what they have today. Countries like Rwanda, countries like Singapore and whatnot, the way we are here, sometimes it sounds as though we are coddling the people and all of that. But if we really want to go as far as they have, then there's a lot we are going to do, and people are going to be very, very unhappy. I remember watching a podcast that hosted the MP for Kolikoti, I think Zaneto Rawlings, yes, Honorable Zaneto. And she was talking about the fact that, are we ready for that? Because looking at where Rwanda even came from to where it is now, look at the things we had. And today, the country is, we are using them as an example. But are we ready to go through what they went through? Not the wars, though, but the fact that, look at the people who are living in the slums, clearing them out, finding a place, whether we are finding a place for them or we are clearing them out, whether, with no regard for where they will go and all of that, to make the place something that can be, boasted about in the near future. Are we ready? Are we ready for the people to revolt and say that this is cruel?
Development itself comes at a cost.
Yes, and
for us to get there or where we want to go, it's not the matter of you becoming ready. You are not always ready before you take an initiative. So you don't have to be perfect.
Even though I'm pitching this angle as well, I'm also going to now look at it from the other side. That as you are saying this here, the person who will be affected will also ask you that if you were the one who was going to be affected, would you say this too?
So that is why
we need to think about it critically.
That is why government should, in a way, give them incentives to compensate them. Because honestly, if we have this perception or ideology, it means you're going to be in class 1 forever.
Yes.
You are not going to move to the next level.
That's the point, that it is going to be so radical and almost inhumane if we want to get to the likes of Singapore, the likes of Rwanda, the likes of China and Japan and all the Switzerlands and whatnot. It is almost going to cost lives if we don't take it.
So,
I remember, before you come in, Peter, I remember when there was a time where we had to transition, even from our currency. We had 10,000 Ghana cedis, 20,000. See the how do we call it? See the kind of force, the kind of opposition, the kind of people didn't want that. But today, look at us. We are doing well than
some. And that is just currency. This is livelihoods. So people's homes, people's businesses. You see, we are talking about the whole reset. We need to make Accra a better place and all of that. But looking at where the floods are also occurring, looking at the people that are suffering, the people who are displaced today, destitute, if today we say that, look, you're no longer going to live here. Look at the Makola issue, I think early this year when the fire outbreak occurred. Within a few days, they had started rebuilding again. Now, if we say that we are not going to wait for them to start rebuilding, we are taking over and going to make this place into a state-of-the-art, whatever, all of that, and it is going to be at the cost of these people's lives and property. Are we ready as the victims and are we ready as the perpetrators? Because the cost is going to be high.
Does it mean we should allow kids to die? We should allow people to pollute our water bodies? We should allow our lands to be destroyed. We should support the future of the unborn generation. These are the kind of leaders that we are looking for, radical leaders that will stand on their toes and be like, no matter what, I don't care about election, whether you vote for me or you don't vote for me, the right thing must be done. And it must, and the time is now. Because we always say, let's have sympathy on these people, and people are dying. Look at the kids dying. People are losing properties. We didn't even talk about that. In terms of flood and insurance, most of these insurance companies, they don't factor flooding into it. So if you've lost your building,
just a few of them have.
It is at your own cost. You see, And so it is high time we take that decisive decision. I mean, we are ready for it, like you rightly said. We are never ready until it's there. We have to pay that price. I mean, we have to pay that price.
Peter.
Because it's getting out of hand, seriously. Kids, the innocent ones are those dying. There are so many people who cannot afford, a 3 square meal. They are somewhere suffering. You get it. Now, we don't even talk about Galamsey. It is still ongoing. The effect, go to the villages and
flooding occurred in some of those areas
you see that thing. You see where we are going to as a country. And we see that, because we are not able to take those drastic measures because of our governance system. Because at the end of 4 years, you have to go and appeal to the people. And you don't want to hear that, when this government came, they destroyed our banks, our business, and what have you. So we won't vote for them. So I think it's high time we take that measure. We have to take Ghana first before any political party. And I'm still calling for the fact that we should get a national developmental project that whichever party that comes, we, the country, will tell you what to do for us, not what you want to do for us. It's high time we take that measure. We can be like Rwanda.
Personally, I think they should move. They should do something to the Saglemi housing. Move all the displaced people there. Fix the areas that need fixing into something that makes the city beautiful. And then start setting up the house. Because, I mean, people need places to live at this point.
Right.
You put them at Saglemi and then there's a market area. They can start businesses, something.
On the Saglemi housing project too. Yesterday, from the Interior Minister Mutaka Mohammed Mubarak, and he's saying that yesterday's flood, no, not yesterday, like
Monday.
about 38,000 people were displaced. 38,000, and then 7 people are still missing as of now. I heard that yesterday they saw one dead body at the Koli Lagoon. And then 12 people died. Now it's still raining. It will rain.
Yeah. We're in the rainy season.
And
it's about September.
We just hope that the coming ones doesn't happen like what happened like few days ago.
But even with 5 minutes of rain, sometimes there's problem. So the issues need to be resolved. At least with the magnitude of this flood, we need to see something happening so that next year we will not record this much damage. And I think one of you mentioned on Tuesday that it seems to be getting progressively worse.
Exactly. And if you're not careful, next year we'll still be here.
And in fact, next year we shouldn't be discussing this issue. For the past 1 week now, every station, every radio station, even churches, everybody is discussing flooding. 91 years down, we are still talking about it. I mean, we have to take the painful decisions. I did a little bit of history, and my teacher once said something. It always comes as a flash that a part of Ghana here was known as the San Francisco of Africa. Can we still describe? I think it's Kumasi. As we speak, can we describe Kumasi as the San Francisco of Africa? Zero. No. What are we doing? We are failing the unborn generation. Our leaders are failing us. We as citizens, we are also failing. Our indiscipline is too much. Now that we've had extensive conversation about the flood, we all know the causes of the flood, what we can actually do to prevent it. And I hate it when people tend to politicize issues like this, national issues. We'll be politicizing it. Are we serious as a country? I mean, a high time we exercise our power. Before we change our governance system, let's exercise our power through our voting system. And I like the fact that Ghanaians are descending. And this era of, are we in Gen Z or Generation X or whatever? We seriously, I mean, we have to. Now, when you go to our forest reserves have been encroached, our water bodies destroyed. We don't have anything to our names as we speak right now. Should we go and ask our leaders? Let's go and ask our former president, John Ajekum Kufuor, that, I mean, the legacy he came to meet. How far were they? See, they are not leaving us anything. They are not leaving us anything. And they are not happy about the fact that things are happening like this. When you go and talk, they will tell you there are people somewhere, they are the controllers of Ghana, they are the controllers of the economy, and that you can't talk. And people are just suffering like that. People are traveling outside the country. Instead of them being here to help fix the country, they are traveling because They say that some of us, you see, when you grow up, you say, me, I want to become a member of parliament. And when I get there, I'll do this, I'll do this. And they'll tell you, wait until you get there. When you get there, it's like when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. It's either you join them or you leave. It should be something of the past.
Yeah.
We should all think about the country, the well-being of the country. If you are not even thinking about yourself, think about your kids, the unborn generation. 30 years from now, how is Ghana going to be like if we continue with what we are doing currently?
Someone drew my attention to the fact that the June 3rd disaster, how many years on? And yet, what comments as well? I did this with Peter Nsia and Bevelyn Annobel. Up next is the lifestyle segment where the conversation is going to be about stroke. So let's stay tuned and learn something.
Good morning and welcome back to the Sports Update segment on your favorite morning show, the Koko Digest Morning Show. You know, here we bring you nothing but the best in the world of sports, and we are covering all the action, both local and international. And as you know, we are in the World Cup season. Yes, the USA, Canada, Mexico World Cup 2026 that is ongoing, currently ongoing. For the past 2 weeks, we've been witnessing games between nations. I mean, very strong teams that have been battling upon each other for the ultimate prize, that is the World Cup, to be accorded or awarded the best when it comes to national or international football. So yeah, so far so good. We've gone through the group stages of the competition. No, right now we had 48 teams competing for the World Cup. So we had to go on to round of 32, that is the playoffs. This time around in the competition, instead of 32 teams competing, we had 48 teams competing. And now right now we are at the stage of round 32 where we have teams competing in the playoffs. So the first, second, third, the third runner-ups, that is the third best teams out of the group stages. 8 teams on the third position are qualifying and joining their first and second teams to compete in the round of 32. My name is Benedict Nketia Kwatin. This is the Clock Morning Show, Clock TV Morning Show. That's the Koko Digest Morning Show. So let me go straight to the stories for today. And we are just talking about the World Cup and what is going on and how far the teams have gone to. We'll look at the African teams. What are their performances? We had 10 teams moving from Africa straight to Europe to compete in this World Cup competition. 10 African teams. How many are left? What is going on? How far with the African teams? And of course, the ultimate team, Ghana, our national team. How is the preparation going on? How are they performing? And what is going on? And what are we expecting from the national team, Ghana Black Stars? So yes, the round of 32, which is currently underway. We have some matches that have already gone on. Let me just bring together, or let me just collaborate with the African teams, what is happening. So yes, we had South Africa joining, starting with the round of 32 against Canada, where they lost by 1-0. We have Brazil and Japan. Brazil winning by 2-1. Germany and Paraguay. This is actually one of the heartbreaking results of the competition, where Paraguay, not heartbreaking, surprising results of the competition, where Paraguay held Germany to a 1-1 draw, and they went on to an extra time, and in the penalty shootout, Paraguay won against Germany. So Paraguay has advanced to the round of 16. We have Netherlands facing Morocco. So one of the African giants, Morocco holding Netherlands to a 1-1 draw and advancing through penalties after extra time. We have Ivory Coast, another African giant who faced Norway. Ivory Coast leading by 1-0 by the end of the competition. At the end of 90 minutes, Norway did a comeback by scoring Ivory Coast 2-1. And then France versus Sweden. France winning by 3-0. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The attacking force of France is actually very sharp. And then we can see that they have something up their sleeve. They really want to win the trophy this time around. We have Mexico, a host nation, facing Ecuador. Mexico winning by 2-0. And we have England facing DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. In the 7th minute, DR Congo pulled a surprise by scoring a goal in the 7th minute of the first half, holding on to a 1-0 win until the 70th minute, going where very own Harry Kane, came back to score a brace against DR Congo. So yes, DR Congo is out of the competition. And yesterday, one of the most heartbreaking, most African fans are heartbroken after the results between the game between Belgium and Senegal, where Senegal was leading by 2-0, almost to the 70th minute of the competition, getting to the 80th minute of the competition, and out of nowhere, Belgium pulled a comeback. Yes, led by Romelu Lukaku. Yes, with his able man, they pulled 2 goals back to equalize, to level the game in the 90th minute, and the game went on to an extra time where they came back, the Senegalese conceded a penalty, and then Belgium had to score that penalty to lead the competition by 3-2. So Senegal is also out, and another host nation, that's the USA, faced Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yes, that was earlier today, just this dawn. USA leading by 2-0. So the African team so far, out of the group stages, we sent 10 teams into the competition. 9 qualified out of the group stages into the round of 32. By what we watched, Tunisia. Tunisia were out of the group stage. They performed poorly, so they couldn't qualify from the group stage. But we had 9 teams qualifying from the group stage as African teams. And then so far, we have South Africa, which is out. We have Morocco advancing to the round of 32 after they won against the Netherlands. Ivory Coast is out. We have DR Congo out, and then Senegal also out. We still have some African teams, 3 or 4 teams left to play. We have Algeria, we have Egypt, we have 4 teams. So Algeria, Egypt, Cape Verde, and Ghana. So yes, these are the matches left to be played. So later today we have Spain versus Austria. We have Portugal versus Croatia. We have Switzerland versus Algeria. That's an African team playing against Switzerland. That is tomorrow. On July 3rd, we have Australia versus Egypt. Yes, and then we have Argentina versus Cape Verde, another African team. So Egypt is playing on 3rd of July. Cape Verde is playing on the 3rd of July against Argentina. And then the ultimate, yes, Ghana Black Stars, we are playing against Colombia on the 4th of July. So yes, these are some of the games that are coming up in the round of 32. So some round of 16 pairings have already been set based on the results so far. We have Canada playing against Morocco. That's the host nation playing against an African giant, Morocco. So far, that's the only African team that has qualified into the round of 16. Hopefully, we can have more teams since we have 4 countries left. We have Algeria, Egypt, Cape Verde, and Ghana. We know that Ghana is qualifying. Hopefully, we can see Algeria and then Egypt also qualifying. There is no way Cape Verde is going to score Argentina. Argentina is going to play Ghana, definitely. So, yes. So, we have Canada playing Morocco. We have Paraguay facing France. And we have Brazil playing against Norway. And, of course, Mexico, a host nation, playing against England. So far, so good. The African teams, like I mentioned earlier, it's only Morocco that has advanced, and we have the rest of the teams playing. Algeria playing, Egypt playing, Ghana playing, and Cape Verde playing. So yes, it's been interesting. I know you are enjoying the World Cup season. It's quite fun. We are having fun. We are enjoying the games. Yes, there's been heartbreaks, and there's been sad moments. There's been joyful moments here and there. And I know you are rooting for the Ghana Black Stars to perform very well. This is actually the first time in the history of the Black Stars in the World Cup competition to have qualified with 1 game at hand. That was in the group stages where we had 1 game at hand against Croatia, but then we had already qualified because we won a game against Panama, and then we drew against the 3 Lions of England, and then again we had already qualified with the 4 points, with 4 points that we already gathered, and then we played Croatia where we lost by 2-1. Now we are facing Colombia next, and we are hoping it will be an exciting game. That is midnight, around 1 a.m. Saturday midnight. We are playing against Colombia. We hope the Black Stars will deliver. We believe in them. We've seen some of the training videos, some of the trending videos of the team, their bonding videos. They went on to the golf courts Some people didn't understand why the team have moved on to the golf course, football players playing golf and all that. But then the coach explained that this is a means for the boys to bond, get to know themselves and understand themselves, put them in a competition where they challenge themselves and see how best they can go further when they are challenging themselves, which will also help them to advance. They had a rondo training session where, you know, normally rondos, you play with football, you go on with the rondos with football. But this time around, the boys had a rondo section without a football. This is also an advanced training session for the boys. So we know the boys are actually preparing very well for the competition that is coming up, God willing, on Saturday. We are hoping that they will perform. But as fans, as sports fans out there, let us continue to pray, support, and then, of course, wish them well. Those of our fans out there in the United States of America who can also go and support the boys, we hope and urge you, pray that you can go and then support the boys and root for them, because we need a moral spirit of Ghanaians behind the players. You know, we can never do without the morale of Ghanaians. So let us go in our numbers, let us go and support the boys, advance and play, very well in this competition, and then hopefully when we advance from Colombia, we can move on to the round of 16 where we'll see where the table will take us to. Yes, so this is it for the sports update segment. My name, as always, is Benedict Nketia Kwating. Next is the business segment with my very own colleague, Peter Nsia.
Hello and welcome. This is the business update segment of the Koko Digest Morning Show. And as usual on this segment, we provide you with the latest in the world of business, expert analysis and market trends that will impact your business and investment decisions. I am your host, Peter Nsia. Now to our stories. Some oil marketing companies have started reducing fuel prices at the pumps following the latest pricing guidelines from the National Petroleum Authority. GOIL, the country's largest OMC, has lowered the price of petrol from 13 cedis 87 pesos to 12 cedis 79 pesos per litre, while diesel has dropped from 15 cedis 95 pesos to 15 cedis 35 pesos per litre. Star Oil has also confirmed that it will soon adjust its pump prices, with petrol expected to be sold at the new minimum price set by the NPA. Other OMCs have indicated they will also review their prices in the coming days. There's more to this story.
The NPA recently announced a new minimum fuel prices for the first pricing window of July 2026. Under the revised rate, no OMC is permitted to sell petrol below 12 Ghana cedis 79 pesos per litre, down from the previous minimum of 13 Ghana cedis 39 pesos in June. Diesel has also seen a significant reduction, with the minimum selling price falling from 15 Ghana cedis 11 pesos to 13 Ghana cedis 54 pesos per litre, representing a 10.4% decrease. Liquefied petroleum gas recorded the biggest price cut, with the minimum price dropping from 13 Ghana cedis 23 pesos to 10 Ghana cedis 11 pesos per kilogram, a reduction of 23.6%. Ghana currently has more than 200 oil marketing companies, many of which are expected to adjust their pump prices in line with the new pricing window.
Away from fuel prices, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is calling on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, to suspend its recent 3.49% electricity tariff increase, citing falling global oil prices. According to the AGI, lower fuel prices could reduce electricity generation costs, making the timing of the tariff adjustment inappropriate. The association warned that the increase could drive up production costs for manufacturers and eventually lead to the higher prices for consumers.
It is also argued that consumers are already supporting the energy sector through fuel levies and question the need for additional electricity tariff increases at a time when inflation is easing. The exchange rate remains stable and interest rates are declining. The AGI has therefore urged the PURC to reconsider the adjustment and review the impact of falling fuel prices before implementing the new tariffs.
And on to our last story, Ghana's inflation rate increased to 5.3% in June 2026, up from 3.7% in May, mainly due to higher non-food prices, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Despite the rise, inflation remains much lower than 13.7% recorded in June 2025, indicating that overall price pressures are still easing compared to a year ago.
Non-food inflation rose to 6.3%, whilst food inflation edged up to 3.9%. Prices of locally produced goods continue to drive inflation more than imported items. On a monthly basis, however, inflation slowed to 0.2%, suggesting that although prices increased in June, they rose at a slower pace than in May. The Northeast region recorded the highest inflation rate at 10.2%, whilst Bono East posted the lowest at negative 4.4%, reflecting a decline in average prices.
Let's now take a look at how the cedi is faring as compared to other currencies. And that's all we have for you on the business of this segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Peter. Up next is the Lifestyle segment with Beverly. Please do stay with us.
Welcome to Koko Digest Morning Show on Clock TV. I am your host, Honorable Bethlehem Echebia. And today we are discussing a health condition that can change one's life within minutes. This morning we are discussing stroke. Now, according to World Health Organization, stroke is now one of the leading causes of death and long-term disability worldwide. Now, every year, more than 12 million people experience stroke globally, and nearly up to 6.5 million people die from it. Even more worrying, and about 1 in 4 adults over the age of 25 is likely to have a stroke in their lifetime. Stroke is often seen as a disease affecting only the elderly, but increasingly young adults in their 30s and 40s. Even younger ones are becoming victims. Now, largely due to stress, poor diet, hypertension, diabetes, smoking, obesity, and sedentary lifestyles. You know the scary part? Stroke can happen suddenly, often with little warning, but in many cases, it is preventable. And so to help us understand, the topic stroke better, its causes, warning signs, prevention, treatment, and recovery, we are joined by a distinguished medical expert. Please help me welcome Dr. David Brody-Mentz. He's a Master of Medicine and Surgery. He's also a Fellow of the West African College of Physicians, also Fellow of the Ghana College of Physicians and surgeons. So we have here an expert in the house to talk to us about stroke. So make sure you're stay tuned, and if you have any questions, you can send it to us so we can ask him. Doc, you're welcome to our studios.
Good morning. Good to be
morning
here.
to you. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you.
This morning we are discussing stroke, and for the layman out there, we would like you to come to our level and explain so that we can get what exactly it is. So let's start from the very beginning. When we say stroke, what is it?
Okay, so stroke can simply be thought of like a brain injury or an accident happening in the brain coming from lack of blood supply. So basically what happens is the brain is one of the organs in the body that gets a lot of blood. In fact, almost a quarter of all the blood circulation goes through to the brain. And if something happens to that blood flow, either it gets blocked in a part of the brain or one of the blood vessels ruptures and spills blood into the brain tissue, then we say you have a stroke. So it's a sudden onset disability or lack of blood supply to a part of the brain.
Wow. Right now, you've given us a wrap. But what happens to the body, or how quickly does it affect the body?
So stroke happens suddenly within a few seconds to minutes. The brain is not very good at surviving whenever there's lack of blood supply. So you quickly see the effects of a stroke. And that being said, in some rare cases, you may have either mild symptoms or symptoms that are not so obvious, but that happens rarely. Most of the time, you get easy to see obvious symptoms. And we have an acronym called BFAST that usually helps us identify some of the signs if somebody is having a stroke.
All right.
So the BFAST, B stands for balance problems. So if you get a stroke, one of the things you can see is suddenly the person has difficulty walking or maintaining their balance. E stands for problems with eyesight or blurred vision.
Okay.
F, if you have drooping on one side of the face, so like the mouth is twisted to one side or one side is paralyzed. A stands for weakness in the arm or weakness in the leg. So you may notice somebody has weakness either on the right side or on the left side, affecting the arm, the face, or the leg. And then S stands for problems with speech. So either speaking or understanding speech. Sometimes some people can speak, but their understanding of what is being said to them gets affected suddenly. And then the last one, the T, stands for time, because stroke is an emergency, and you need to call for help and intervene and get to the hospital as quickly as possible.
These are some of the symptoms of stroke.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, some people say that stroke, when you have stroke, some part of your body, like half part of your body, doesn't function well. Is it true?
So it depends on the part of the brain that is affected by the stroke. The brain has a part what we call the motor cortex. That part of the brain controls movement for the opposite side. So the right side of the brain, the motor cortex controls movement for the left, and then the left controls movement for the right. So if something happens to one side of the brain and it affects the motor cortex, the other side gets or may get paralyzed. So you may notice that suddenly the person has difficulty or weakness lifting one arm and one leg on the same side. That is one of the signs that you may see.
All right. So what are some of the major signs that we shouldn't ignore at all? Because we live in a society where people will start diagnosing themselves of stroke. So what are some of the major or significant signs that we see in our body we should, take it very seriously?
Yeah, so that weakness on one side is usually one of the most common ones that people are quite aware of.
Weakness on
one side. So you may have sudden onset inability to move one arm or one leg. Some people, it happens quite suddenly, sometimes in the middle of the night, they wake up, they want to go to the washroom and then realize that, they fall out of the bed and they can't move one side of their body. So that is usually like very obvious sign. But some of the most subtle signs, like I said earlier, could be the speech or weakness on one side of the face, blurring of vision, balancing problems. So any of these things, you really should get to the hospital and get evaluated.
All right. Doc, do we have types of stroke and how they operate or how it is?
Yeah, so the two main types are what we call an ischemic or a hemorrhagic.
Please come again.
So the two main types of stroke. There's one we call ischemic. That's the type of stroke. Ischemic. Yeah, that's the type of stroke that has to do with lack of blood supply to a part of the brain. So the artery gets blocked, either by clots, or that is congealed blood, or what we call atherosclerosis, so the artery gets very narrow. That is a type of stroke. We call it ischemic. Then there's another type of stroke, we call that hemorrhagic. And that hemorrhagic means like hemorrhage or bleeding. So that one, the blood vessel ruptures in a part of the brain and blood spills into the brain. So that's the second type of stroke. There are other less common types. I won't go into those right now, but the two main ones are the ischemic and then the hemorrhagic. And it's important because the type of stroke you get determines or plays a role in the type of treatment that you receive. So for example, for the ischemic stroke, because the blood vessel has been blocked, if the person comes to the hospital early enough, usually within the first 4.5 hours, there's some interventions that can be done to try and remove that blockage and restore blood supply. So for the ischemic, there are some options that really mean that you have to come to the hospital very early. And for the hemorrhagic, the treatment is a bit different because we can't do that type of blockage removal, but there are other treatments that the person can also receive. But in either case, you need to get to the hospital as quickly as you can for life-saving interventions.
So between these two, hemorrhagic and then ischemic stroke, which of them is very, very critical?
They are both very critical. I think the only difference I would say is that for the hemorrhagic stroke, because there's bleeding into the brain, there's a lot of brain swelling that occurs quite early. For the ischemic, the brain swelling may occur, but that happens later on. So usually the people you see, the stroke specialists, the neurologists, and the other medical team who are involved in managing stroke may manage each of these two conditions differently. But either which way, once you suspect a stroke, regardless of what type, you should go to the hospital or go to the nearest medical center to get evaluated.
Right, Doc. So right now, we would like to know some of the causes or who is mostly at a risk when it comes to stroke. And is it hereditary at all?
So the biggest risk by far, especially in our population, is high blood pressure or hypertension. More than 90 to 95% of the time, it is driven by uncontrolled or untreated high blood pressure. Some other things that can put you at risk are things like high cholesterol, diabetes, being obese or being overweight, people who don't exercise, having a sedentary lifestyle. Those can all put you at risk. But the number one is high blood pressure. So which is why we always ask people to make sure they get their blood pressure checked, know their numbers. And if you do have high blood pressure, have it treated to reduce your chances of getting a stroke. With regards to the hereditary, There isn't any particular gene that will say that, oh, if somebody has a stroke, it means that the relative or the next person will definitely have it. But there is some family association for hypertension. So if you have a family history, somebody very close to you, either your parents or your sibling has high blood pressure, it puts you at a slightly increased risk also for having high blood pressure. And that can also increase your risk for having stroke.
That's interesting. And now we've heard that there are records of stroke being recorded among young people, which means a baby is not even safe. Why is this happening?
So for I think I would say that the incidence or how frequently people are getting high blood pressure or hypertension is increasing. So more and more people, especially in Ghana, are getting high blood pressure, and it's happening at younger and younger ages. So many things can be responsible for this. It could be a change in lifestyle, a change in diet. It could be the fact that there's a lot more pollution, a lot more environmental changes. People are very active, living more stressful lives. We wouldn't really take care of their health as much as they used to. So all these things are all adding up together to having more young people getting high blood pressure. And also a lot of people, because they're so busy, are not having their blood pressure checked and they're not getting treatment. So we're having younger and younger people in their 40s and their 30s, beginning to get high blood pressure, not treating it, and getting strokes as well. And for the very, very young, there are some rare causes. Okay. So things like sickle cell disease can put you at increased risk of stroke. If you have a genetic problem affecting your blood vessels, it can also put you at risk for stroke. But that's in what I say, those are much rarer causes. Okay, for most people, it's the high blood pressure.
Right. So if there's somebody out there watching us this morning and probably you might be having 2 or 3 symptoms of stroke, what are some of the emergency responses they can, take as care to help them?
So I think the first thing they need to do is, if you suspect somebody has had a stroke, a lot of people try to give some sort of resuscitation or like something to help the person recover. And one of the things people do commonly is try to give a drink, either something like malt or an energy drink. Sometimes stroke can affect the person's ability to swallow. Okay. So we normally tell people not to do that, because if the person has had a stroke and it's affecting their ability to swallow, and you give them something to drink, it may go the wrong way, go into the lungs, cause them to choke or have difficulty with their breathing, or put them at risk for having lung infections. So if you suspect somebody has a stroke, don't give them anything to drink. Just call for help, call for an ambulance, or bring them to the hospital the fastest way you can.
Wow, this is interesting. So is there a treatment, or is there a long-term treatment, or can stroke be prevented in any way? And if it can, how's the duration like? Okay,
so for prevention, there are certain things, like we talked about, which we call risk factors. Okay. The number one, like I said earlier, is hypertension. Some of the other things, high cholesterol, diabetes. So if you have any of these conditions, it puts you at a higher risk for stroke. But if these conditions are treated and they are managed, it reduces your stroke risk. So the first thing is knowing whether or not you have any of these conditions. So that means you need to have your blood pressure checked, you need to have your blood sugar checked, monitored, you need to have your cholesterol levels checked. And then if any of these are elevated, have your doctor or the person who is in charge of your medical treatment to have all these conditions controlled and monitored. That would reduce your chances of having a stroke.
Right. So you are an experienced, or you are an expert in the field. Has there been a situation where a stroke patient recovered with their speech or their movements and they're totally okay, healed? Has there been a situation like that?
So one of the things that is interesting about the brain is that the brain is something has what we call it neuroplasticity. Okay. It means that it can change and adapt. Unfortunately, what happens is that the part of the brain that was affected, if you have a stroke, that part eventually dies because it doesn't get blood supply. But what the brain does, it sort of rearranges itself so that another part can learn to do what the part that was affected was doing. So that is why when somebody has a stroke and they're trying to go into the recovery process, they usually go for what we call rehabilitation.
Okay.
So things like physiotherapy, things like occupational therapy, that helps the brain to do the rewiring and enhance that rewiring process. Unfortunately, not everybody recovers 100%.
Okay.
So one of the first things that may happen, especially in the early stages after you've had a stroke, is that some people, unfortunately, because of the stroke, may lose their lives, either because of the pressure in the brain or from the lack of blood supply. So if you survive that first stage, then the next stage is going through the what we call the disability from the stroke. So you'll be assessed to find out exactly how the stroke is affecting you. And then once that disability has been assessed, then you start the rehabilitation. So for the rehabilitation phase, about 30%, would I say, of people tend to do very well, get a lot of function back. Some people, their speech comes back. Some people, the weakness they had on one side improves dramatically. Another 30% would improve, but they will not be what we call independent, meaning that they are better, but they still need help to go about their daily activities. Some people might need some, like a cane or something to help them with their walking. And another 30%, unfortunately, do not make any improvement. So some people improve, some people don't. And usually it depends on a number of factors. It may depend on which part of the brain was affected by the stroke. It might depend on how large the stroke was, and then also on the age of the person. We realize the younger people tend to improve and do a lot better than people who are a bit older because they have more brain reserve for that rehabilitation.
Right. So what are some of the lifestyle hacks they can do to prevent stroke at all?
So staying as healthy as you can. The good thing about brain health is that what is good for the brain is also good for the heart. So anything you hear about keeping your heart healthy also applies to the brain. So balanced diet, getting good amount of exercise, maintaining your weight, having good sleep, 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and being socially active, all those things also help prevent your risk for getting a stroke. And then also, like we said earlier, if you do have any of these conditions that increase your risk, have it treated, take your medications, and make sure that your risk for having a stroke is controlled.
Right. Doc, our time is fast spent, but before we go, is there anything you want to say to the general public concerning what we are having or a discussion for today?
If there's one thing I want them to remember is to make sure that, one, if you do not have hypertension, know your numbers. Have your blood pressure checked at least once a year to make sure that your blood pressure is normal. And if you have been diagnosed with high blood pressure or hypertension, take your medications because high blood pressure, unfortunately, most of the time is not cured, it's managed. So take your medications, make sure your blood pressure is down, and doing that can reduce your risk for stroke in 95% of the cases.
I have a question, but I'll come and see you back door.
That's fine.
Well, but before we go, let's take some few birthday celebrants so we come back and wrap up.
Today was your birthday.
I don't know which camera to look at.
I heard today was your birthday.
Right, so happy birthday going out to Miss Ade Ampunsa. You have been an amazing friend, sister, mother, and a dear one. Today we are celebrating your prowess and accomplishments. God bless your new age and cheers to many beautiful memories. Stay beautiful. With love from Benedict. Also, birthday coming from Marcelo to his little brother Ibrahim. He's saying that happy birthday to my dear little blood Ibrahim. Watching you grow has been a true blessing. I pray God grants you good health, wisdom, happiness, and success in all that you do. May this new year bring you endless joy, beautiful memories, and great opportunities. Keep chasing your dreams, and remember, you are deeply loved. Coming from Marcelo to Abraham. And happy birthday to Frimpong, Margaret Frimpoma. May God's light keep you shining onto your life always. May God's light keep shining onto your life always. Amen. From Koko Digest team. This is coming from Ifo Anderson to Annabelle Wilson, and she's saying, may God continue to enlarge your course with blessings always in Jesus' name. Amen. And coming from Koko Digest team to Madame Asamoah Anita Selassie Ekia, Deputy PRO NADMO, may God continue to protect and guide you always in all your endeavors. Amen. And this is how we wrap up for the Koko Digest Morning Show. My name is Annabelle Bevin Ejibia. Do enjoy the rest of